I'm ready. Yep.
And they always hit that button a half-second earlier than I expect, but here we are. Here you are. Guess what it is? It's Championship Sunday. That's right, here at the BrenChong Cup Winter Edition Championship Sunday. We're down to our final 6 players, but only one of them leaves. The BrenChong Cup Winter Edition champion, and 15,000 euros, about $17,000 richer. That's right, richer. Not Richard, not rich, richer. That's what they're going to be at the end of this one, and it's going to be a banger. We've still got 4 players up in the upper bracket. We'll see that bracket here in just a couple of minutes. 2 players waiting down in the elimination side. We're going to get rid of all of those and get down to just one. Big names here, of course, the best, probably the best player in the world right now, except for like 17,000 fans from Japan who might have something to say about it. Mohamed Light in the building. Wallace, Ruben. Oh my word, big names all across from top to bottom. And speaking of big names, let's bring on one big name. You've requested him a whole lot here on the channel. You've wanted him as a co-caster. He filled in a bit while a lot of us were out during the first half of the BrenChong Cup Winter Edition. Absolutely crushed it. Please put your virtual hands together for today's co-caster, Boss. Dude, I'm so excited to have you on here. Everyone's been really pumped about it, and I know that we're going to have a great time today.
Yeah, Rich, thanks for thanks for the invite, for having me on. I'm excited to be casting the final day of this BrenChong Cup here. It's going to be some really exciting gameplay.
Oh, yeah. I mean, thoroughly exciting gameplay. You talk about what we have left. Pandora versus Mohamed Light kicking off the day today. That's one of those really interesting matchups where you take a look at how good Japan is overall at Clash Royale. I think they had 5 or 6 people out of the 32 at CRL World Finals, and Pandora's been a big part of that push in Japan in the last couple of years, carrying the torch as some of the older players have ridden off into the land of the rising sunset. And on the other side of it, Mohamed Light. So I'm going to put you on the spot here just to open things up right now, Boss. Is Mohamed Light the best player on the planet right now?
Yes, that's something I've been saying. Even though, we obviously saw Mugi win the World Finals, I still think Mo Light has just been the most dominant player of 2021, and I expect him to be the same in 2022.
And that's a big one, right?
Doubt.
People saying, I expect more of the same from Mohamed Light in 2022. Speaking of Mohamed Light, here is for those of you who want it, it's in the chat, it's in the description, but also in the chat right now, there is the link to Le Bracket for those of you who want to follow along and see what we're talking about, because the other matchup in the winner's bracket, all these 4 players still having 1 life to give, is going to be Wallace versus Reuben. And this is Wallace, of course, I don't know how long we can say he's underrated until it's not true anymore, up against the former world champion and Reuben of Team Queso. Thoughts on this matchup, Boss? Because it feels like if we rewound a year ago, there'd be no debate about it. But now you have Wallace's stock on the rise, and Reuben, I still think he's a top 5 world-class player, but a lot of people are kind of thinking maybe his footing is a little bit less steady than it used to be.
Yeah, so Wallace versus Reuben, it's definitely going to be a great one. I think Wallace was crazy performance we saw come out of him, last year, and then I remember there was some other All-Star event too. You could say he's one of the most improved players, going from someone who was, people knew were pretty good to being one of the best, and he's been grinding and practicing, so I definitely think he's capable of beating Reuben.
Well, we'll get to that one a little bit later. Of course, Vitor and Wero waiting right now in the wings in that lower bracket, the elimination side. But kicking things off right now, the Prince of Egypt in the golden chair with the sweater to match up against Pandora. Let's go. Let me go find a place here. Oh, there we go. Boom. I'm going to go ahead and... People always ask, who's the co-caster? Well, boom. It's on screen right there on the bottom left-hand side. Boss, just passing 100,000 subs on YouTube, by the way. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you can follow my co-caster on Twitter. You can see it's at @TheBossCR. There's a link in the chat for those of you who want it. And here we are, opening game, and looking like it's going to be Hog, EQ, AQ. Most likely the bomb tower version from Pandora, though some people are playing this with Tesla instead, just for a little bit more aerial control. And as troops pass the bridge here, first 90 seconds away, and it is Ram Rider. It feels like we are in a Ram Rider renaissance right now, Boss.
Yeah, and wow, right as we say that, the Ram Rider is on the tower, and great start from Mohamed Light.
So this is a pretty rough start, obviously, for Pandora. He's up against a lightning variation of Ram Rider Mega Knight. Matchup-wise, this obviously it seems to, like, at this stage, especially with all the damage, lend itself heavily towards Mohamed Light. What can Pandora even do at this stage to get back in game number one?
It's going to be difficult, and I feel like for this type of matchup too, it's just going to get better for Mohamed Light as it goes on, because he has Lightning for the Queen, he has Cage, Mega Knight for the Hog. It seems like he was very well prepared for this matchup, knowing Pandora likes using these types of Hog cycle decks.
Yeah, Mega Knight plus Cage, so never going to be without an option for that Hog Rider unless he's low on Elixir. And as we go into still a little latency, folks, I'm going to try to troubleshoot that a little bit in the break here. Maybe I might move some of the pieces in this office around and see if that fixes some of the problems. But we're down to our final 7, 6, 5, 4 seconds, giving a count there from my co-caster. And this is all looking bad right now. Although Mohamed Light starting to lose hold on that lead as the defense gets locked down by Pandora, and a little bit of EQ cycle suddenly gives the Japanese pro the lead.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be the EQ cycle if Pandora wins this one, because it's guaranteed damage, whereas the Hog is pretty easy to stop for Mo Light.
Good control here, although the Archer Queen gets sniped by that cannon cart. Will put pressure in both lanes now on behalf of Mohamed Light. Golden Knight should have a dash in it too, potentially. And yes, the dash has to get picked up, but still goes to Princess Tower. All balls bouncing the way of Egypt right now as Mo takes the lead back, 1089. Add the snowball to it, 1031 to 1760 as we are approaching triple elixir.
Yeah, this is it. I mean, Mo Light just needs to hold on a little longer.
Only about 500 separating these two, though. Mo does have Snowball and Lightning and EQ cycle here. Let's see how much Pandora can take advantage of the Archer Queen's ability to create fast Earthquake cycles. And you see already happening right now. He wants that AQ back on the board to keep those cycles fast. 956 to 656 with 38 seconds left, and there she is back one more time. But can he stop this push on the left-hand side? Ram Rider going to work here. Boss, there's a chance. A small one, but definitely a chance.
There's a chance, but now at this point, it's just going to be a spell cycle race. If Mo can just get down one more Lightning, he should be able to take it.
Just trying to cheaply control that Mega Knight the best he can. Snowball in. Can Mo get to that last Lightning? There's not a troop with the size of a block here.
Wow.
152 remaining, 281 remaining, 8 seconds left. Ram Rider connects, 65 HP on the right-hand side. What a way to kick off our championship Sunday at the BrenChong Cup this winter.
Wow, a lot closer than I think what we thought, it would be. Mo had a pretty sizable lead, and then Pandora made that so much closer.
Let's go. That's how you get the energy going to start off a day, man. Yeah, that's the thing about that deck, right? When you get the Archer Queen down in triple elixir, the ability to cycle Earthquakes and Logs so insanely fast once she's out of the cycle pool, it's a complete game changer at that stage.
Yeah.
And here we go, looking at the last minute or so, this replay action. And so let's break this one down here. Boss, talk me through what you're seeing.
So what I really liked from Pandora is you notice how he played the Archer Queen often on the right side, and you see that there in the replay, making sure not to give Mohamed Light that lightning value. But yeah, he had a good effort doing that there, but because he took all that damage from the start, Mohamed Light was in a position where he could just try to play passively and just, be very patient with the spell cycle, and he was able to pick up the win in the end.
And picks up a big win, so you see here in the final 25 seconds, that lightning gives it a nice opportunity here for Mohamed Light, but Pandora can get around really, really fast. And look at the pace he puts. Archer Queen's not in cycle here, which does mean the cycle's a little bit slower. Still a very quick one in this game. Hog Rider cannot sneak through, and if that Ram Rider didn't touch, that might have been a win for Pandora in that moment.
Yeah, the hog was probably going to get a hit. It still had some health, and it was right on top of the tower, so it was really close.
So that was a blast, everyone, to kick things off. And let's see, people joining in on both YouTube and on Twitch. Welcome, wherever y'all are watching. I'm Rich Slayton, boss, co-caster for the day. And let's go ahead and take a look at the chat here from Abhijit says, love from India, some words, please, for us Indians. Welcome. Enjoy. Happy to have you all here. Let's see. Look at the MK. What about the MK? Should Pandora have logged the Ram Rider? Says fake Lapacati. That's an interesting question there. Would logging the Ram Rider have done something better in that moment?
Yeah, I think if he had log and cycle, it would have been good, but I think it's the type of thing where he maybe wanted to log the tower. It's sometimes hard to do, know what to do in that type of moment, because he was probably hoping the Ram Rider wouldn't connect, and then if the hog didn't make it, he could log the tower to beat out the lightning. But yeah, that's a good point. He could have done that maybe if he had it in rotation.
So game number 1 in the books, going for Mohamed Light. Obviously, this is not an elimination match, by the way. Loser does drop down to face Vitor in the next round in the first round or next round of the elimination bracket on the bottom side. So on Mohamed Light's side, we do get the Ram Rider, the Lightning, the Mega Knight, and the Cage all out, and the Hog EQ AQ played by Pandora. Let's start with the player who's behind right now, boss. Thoughts on good dual deck choices for Pandora now, knowing Mega Knight's out, knowing that Cage is out, and knowing that Lightning's out?
Yeah, it's pretty hard at this point if you're Pandora, because not only did you lose, but Mohamed seemed to build, a great deck for what Pandora had, because Mega Knight, it's good against Hog, the Lightning is good against the Queen, Cage, another good option against the Hog. So if you're Pandora, you're gonna have to try to do what you can to use something that, doesn't, since Lightning's out, want to use something that Lightning is typically good against. So maybe things like E-Wiz, those types of cards that, die to Lightning. But it looks like he's using bats, so maybe something a little baity.
Maybe Loon here, potentially, as well. Thinking about with the Ram Rider being out and Lightning being out, although now that you see the Royal Ghost, who knows what's going on?
Yeah, probably bridge spam at this point coming out from Pandora.
So maybe Pandora going with a Ram Rider variant here in game number 2. Minor AQ bats so far from Light.
Yeah, Mortar very popular right now, so Light probably going with some variation of that.
And bats behind the Mega Knight here for Pandora. And wall breaker pressure on the left-hand side. And
double connection there.
Wow, Mo just chooses to eat that one. And they are at even elixir now, but not even on damage. The lead now goes over to Pandora by a couple hundred HP. Onisim Ionit saying Pandora had not been better off if it would have not used the Earthquake offensive. Interesting. I think the Earthquake needed to be offensive, but maybe talking about trying to slow down that one version or that one Ram Rider. And this has been a real slowdown, and now that we hit the final 5 seconds of single elixir, Mo sets up Mortar to the right. Pandora kites that attention to the left with the Mega Knight.
Yeah. Oh, looks like Mortar, yeah, is going to be able to lock on here.
So this is interesting for an interesting conundrum for Pandora, right? Because you have so many cards here that the Mortar actually ignores with the Royal Ghost, with the bats. He has to be very, very careful making sure figuring out how he's going to continuously control those Mortars.
Yeah, and that's why you see he's pressuring a lot, so Mo isn't able to go in probably for as many Mortars as he would like. Pandora's kind of making it kind of awkward for Mo to have to constantly be defending in that opposite lane when he's trying to get damage in the right lane. So Pandora's doing a really good job of that with the miners.
Mega Knight high, Archer Queen goes invisible. Zap to clear the bats off. Now Wall Breakers with potentially a very nice path forces Mortar out. and Mortar's going to turn back and look at the Miner as opposed to looking, no, what in the world? Oh, Miner goes down, and the Mortar does turn and get one shot, maybe two here, and that's a huge swing back to Mo, who now suddenly has the lead.
Yeah, that was a huge turnaround there.
Archer Queen takes care of business. That's a nice Miner, and the wall breakers have to come out as a defensive play. Beautiful arrows, though, from Pandora to clean up what could have been the killing blow.
Yeah, Pandora's hanging on here, but it's definitely looking like the game has completely shifted. It felt like Pandora was in control, and now Mo's starting to put the pressure on.
Miner goes into the bat, not to the Archer Queen here, but still does get some of that damage back, 1229 to 1054, and you see Pandora cycles the Ghost in the back. The Mega Knight does barely get down in time.
Oh,
and that,
nice fireball there.
And that looked like an attempted kite that didn't accomplish what it wanted.
Yeah, it does look like that, and it looks like Mo is probably going to be able to take this one. Just spell cycle at this point. Yeah.
Arrows in, 35 seconds left. Fireball hits, and that's the GG. Well played. Mohamed Light takes that one easily in two.
Yeah, that was a great win by Mo Light. It was looking, pretty bad for him, but then I think he got the cycle the way he wanted it to be, and he started to finally be able to go for mortars that, like you mentioned, Pandora wasn't able to defend well because he had too many cards in his deck that just don't distract the mortar.
And with that, Mo guarantees himself a spot in the top 4, which means $2,000, and of course he can keep on going on, no troubles there, but now Mo is guaranteed. Actually, I think he's guaranteed a spot in the top 3. Let me double check that bracket. Yeah, that guarantees Mo a spot in the top 3. So Mo now has a guaranteed $4,000 heading home with him from this competition. And it would take only one more win to guarantee him 7.5K. So the money keeps stacking on the golden chair for Mohamed Light, who, man, it's so much fun to watch him play Clash Royale. So who are your, as long as we're talking about that, who are some of your favorite people to watch play in a game that is so big on spectators?
Oh man, that's a good question. I really like watching the best competitive players. So obviously Mo Light, but I also really just love watching people who've kind of mastered their deck. So if we're not talking just competitive, sometimes ladder too, watching the best of the best play their deck on top ladder, if it's on my friends list or whatever, just for example, like people who know their deck inside and out. So when you talk about Viper with Hog X NATO or like Igor running Mortar, for example, I feel like you can learn so much just from watching them because they've mastered just every part of their deck.
Here we go, looking at the upper side of the bracket. You see Mohamed Light now in the top. Now down on the bottom, Pandora will be going to face off against Vitor. That will be not our next up match, but the match directly after that one. So Vitor Pandora will be an elimination match. The winner will move into the top 4 and guaranteed $2,000. Loser will go home, as they are, having won 1K with their work yesterday, but being out now. How much did Mo earn last year, says Yasmina Petreska. I don't even know. I don't know who's done the math. I'm sure Royal API has done the math. I'm sure they have it. I know that Mo won at least like 150K. I think he broke 200,000 last year. But his prize pool, his winnings from CRL World Finals was $100,000. And then you put on, I know he was around 50K overall just from Clash Royale League. And then you add in whatever he won from all the different BrenChong Cups, Queso Cups, the Everything Cups. So yeah, my guess is that Mo broke 200K last year, but that's just me. That's me eyeballing it.
Yeah, it's definitely somewhere around there. He was just dominating every single event last year, and that's why everyone just said, like, there's no question he was the best player of 2021.
Let's see. Manish Chowdhury saying, Rich, once top tier player, which once top tier player do you think can make a comeback in 2022? That's interesting. Which once top tier player do I think can make a comeback in 2022? Here's the hard part answering that question is I don't know who wants to. right? That's always the most difficult question, is who's motivated. For me, a person high on my list would be OP Sam, who, but I don't know if he wants to play like that. He's just killing it streaming. I don't know if he wants to play competitive in that way, right? So that's always the hard question of how you answer, when you're talking about how you answer that. Any thoughts on that one there, boss? What one?
You know what I think. I kind of have an interesting take on that. I don't know how much you've seen him, kind of come back in the game, but I'm gonna go with Surgical Goblin because the thing about him is, just from what I've seen, is when he's motivated, he can like flip the switch, and then in just like a few weeks, he can go back to the grindiness that you'd expect out of him. And if he's motivated to compete, which I think he mentioned on Twitter, he's gonna try it out. I wouldn't be surprised if he's someone who ends up shocking kind of the community.
Yeah, Surge does have a pretty good chance here. Harold saying, wait, how long does this break between matches last? Not anymore. We're going into our next one. This depends on how fast the players are ready. Here we go into our second upper bracket semifinal. And yeah, I would say that Surgical Goblin, obviously, I just forgot that he's working on a comeback. Diego B, someone made the point. Diego B did great in the group stage of this competition. Floundered a bit during the regionals, but Diego B looks like he's making a comeback as well. So that would be very interesting.
For sure.
So here we go. Former world champion with Team Queso, the man who might have hurt his back carrying a squad to a championship, and maybe that's why he didn't get a second one here in 2021. Ruben up against Wallace, who has, when you talk about players who've been successful in dual mode specifically, you have to put Wallace in that conversation. You mentioned the Clash Royale All-Stars, which was the first dual mode tournament, December of 2020, right after CRL ended. And then, of course, the Royale Masters victory he had this year, the event sponsored by Tribe Gaming, and then obviously what he's been doing here. So Wallace certainly one of those guys who needs to be in the conversation of top-tier players who felt like you could say that this last year was his breakout year, but it feels like there's more to give on behalf of the Brazilian.
Oh, yeah. And wow, just going to let those guards go on his tower, so Reuben kind of evening things up here.
So Lava Miner with Flying Machine, and Wallace going with the Skelly, the Spear Goblin version of this Royal Hogs Earthquake Archer Queen cycle deck, and that Spear Goblin version certainly gives you a bit more viability against air battles.
Yeah, and certainly that Archer Queen too. Normally this matchup, traditionally this deck was used with Musketeer, but I feel like with the Archer Queen, it just makes things so much easier for the Mortar player to be able to defend all those air units.
And Pigs just all over that left-hand tower. And not quite down, but certainly out, with the EQ being all that's needed here to get that done on the left-hand side. 1:06 remaining with 35 seconds left, and this most certainly is the last real chance that Ruben has in game number one.
Oh. Wow.
Miner into the right-hand side. And, oh, wow, looks like Wallace might be sacking here. Maybe he decided he didn't have the defense to stop that one, and this feels like so many games against Lava feel like. Hey, I got it. It's all sewn up. Wait, where'd my tower go? Why are there so many Lava Hounds?
Yeah, Wallace, though, defended very nicely there, considering the situation.
Skeleton Dragons are getting some splash. Oh, no, not quite. 1077 to 685. Cannon cart in the pocket. Ruben doesn't pick it up. And the Tombstone pushes the cannon cart off, but that Earthquake means that you are just one cycle away. I don't think Ruben can get anything in the pocket fast enough to beat out that last Earthquake. Let's see. Miner goes to the safe spot. Spears going to block that pocket. Arrows trying to make a little bit of room. Not going to happen. That's going to be an Earthquake for Wallace. And wow, the back and forth, the emotions, the changes. Wallace takes game number one off of Ruben.
Yeah, that game went back and forth a couple times. I thought Wallace pretty much had it sealed, and then Ruben, tied it up. But then great defense coming out from Wallace, and you can see why he was able to defend pretty easily with that Archer Queen and the delivery, that combination is very good against the Lava Pups, and when Ruben doesn't have a balloon, it makes it even easier for Wallace to make sure he's able to defend everything.
Some questions here. James Hughes asking, Rich, in a game like this, should you want to pick the starting rotation of cards, AAK your starting hand? It's kind of broken. You can get starting hand at even the professional scene. There's been debate about that. In fact, the ability to play with starting hand is actually built in to the game, I believe. But it's only built in, like a special way it's built into friendly mode. 1 second. I'm working on some replay stuff here. It's only built into the friendly mode, and they haven't really found a way. They haven't really decided to use it in a competitive format yet. It'd be interesting to try it out, to see what it's like. One of the challenges of running an esport, and this is an argument. This is an argument, a debate people have to have. Wallace wins game 1. I'm labeling some replays here. One of the arguments that people have is, how much should the esport need to reflect the player experience? Right? That's a really interesting question, right? How much does the esport need to reflect how the common casual player is playing the game? And right now, starting hand is not part of the standard gameplay. It's a thing people don't even know you can really do in friendly game modes. And that's a hard question to answer. But I don't know your thoughts on it, boss. It feels like starting hand obviously would reduce some randomness in matchups. You know, it's less easy for you to get starting handed. Of course, what starting hand you want might also shift based on what matchup you believe you're going to get.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of different opinions on that. I think I can kind of see it both ways, because on one hand, you know, it's annoying getting starting handed, but the other thing is if you could choose your starting hand, it maybe could become a little boring, because everyone would just select what the best starting hand is, and then when the rumor gets around that that's the best one for that deck, you would always see the same starting plays over and over, and there wouldn't be much that's different like there is now, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So that's one way to look at it.
Yeah, that's interesting. It might make the game more stale by being based on starting hand. That's really, really interesting. So, and then, of course, also how many times would you – here we go into game number 2. That was some replay action there. Then also the question of how often in those situations would you get would the starting hand just be, hey, some guy has it where it's, you know, Lumberloon is their starting hand, and whatever you built for didn't build to stop a 9 elixir push to open up at the bridge. How annoying would that version of the game get?
Yeah, exactly. That's another good point.
So Wallace going with the drill wall breakers, which has become pretty much the primary mode of playing Goblin Drill at this stage.
Yeah, it's very popular deck pick for duels, because the cards it uses are very different than a lot of the other, you know, meta decks, because not many other decks right now use, you know, the Fire Spirit, the Wall Breakers, or the Bomber.
So this feels like E-Giant, although the Golden Knight has been paired more with Golem lately.
Yeah, definitely think it's probably E-Giant, if I had to guess.
And that's going to be a decent amount of damage there on the right-hand side. 24-12, Reuben takes the lead by a little over 200 HP, 230 to be exact, as we go closer and closer to the final minute of regulation gameplay. Wallace, of course, as mentioned many times, long career in the semi-pros. Even played in some of my personally streamed tournaments back in the day, the $100 Weekly Open. And then from there on to his short but very successful stint with Pain Gaming. I believe that was actually the most successful run Pain Gaming had throughout all of CRL, was that final 2020 fall split with Wallace, Lucas, Vitor, and Sweep, making top 4 at World Finals. And here we go, the Electro Giant in from Reuben.
Wow, great first push coming out from Reuben there.
And that's going to be some good damage here, as Wallace is going to be very, very low on Elixir, throws out the guards. So down by quite a bit is Wallace, and then on top of that, the damage and the Elixir. Fake Lapacati on Twitch saying I feel like a soft deck never wins in competitive. And yeah, Jenna, I did see that you're asking for a little more attention to be paid to the Twitch chat. I didn't really see much in the way of questions on Twitch, but I saw mostly just people debating, as Twitch is. Twitch is usually more of a debate center. But I'm here. I'm here for it.
Whoa! The Inferno Drag. Just locked on. Wallace had nothing.
And wow, the Inferno Dragon locks on. GG, well played. Ruben gets it done, and we're going to game number 3.
I may be a little ahead, I'm not sure.
Yes, you are. I think you are a few seconds. So when we start the next game, I'll give you a count of where I am. So you can do a little pause and reset to make sure that we're all in the same place. Let's see. All right, Twitch chat. Now that we're in a break between games, here we go. Let me read some things. Pat Clash, do you subscribe to the theory that Mo was robbed in CRL World Finals? I don't know what that theory is, but why don't you expound on on how you make that argument? You know, I think that Mo should have maybe played. I think that Mo played a mortar low, and that was a big part of that that one game. But you know, I don't think I robbed. I don't know. Let's see. Goblin Drill is pretty strong, says Tyton. Yeah, boss, you had something on that comment?
Oh, I was just going to say the other thing I think you have to keep in mind is I believe Mo had to beat Mugi 2 times, right? So even if he won that set, you know, you never know if he would have won because Mugi was the winner of like the winner's bracket. He made it through and Mo made it through the losers. So yeah, in my eyes, it was definitely deserved for Mugi.
Sure. You know, it's one of those things that's really interesting. I just want to know what would have happened if Mugi and Reichert actually played their game number 3 on the day 1, right? Because Reichert played he replayed a card in game 3 and was disqualified. And that's one of those ones where like Mugi didn't look totally in shape in that first match. And I think that he got a little bit of reprieve there when Reichert replayed a card. And then of course he came back the next day and was on fire.
Yeah, that's true because I was actually talking to some people and even Julesy himself, who is Reichert's analyst, was saying he would have had a pretty good matchup against Mugi. So it's likely the whole World Finals would have been shifted. So that's really interesting to think about.
It's really interesting to think about. Let's see, DC the Boss on Twitch saying, hey, DC. Hey, Rich, big fan before you never experienced gooders or burritos. Life is better now. I'm glad I can bring you the joy of so many things that people wouldn't experience without it. And I know that you probably had never. You're right. A lot of people having burritos for the first time because of me. And I'm just glad to be able to bring that to the community, man. Let's see. Prudavi saying Reuben going to play RG this last game. Boss, thoughts? Likelihood that Reuben goes to the most likely deck that people would predict? Or is he going to be a little more tricky here in game 3?
Ooh, that's a good question. So he went Lava game 1, E-Giant game 2. You know what? There's a chance he could go RG because he has Fireball and Log still open, which are typically the cards you see with it. But RG, you know, is not as great in this meta as it was a few months ago. So I wouldn't be surprised if he goes with something else. But Ruben does like using RG. It's definitely one of his go-to picks.
Yeah, RG, Hog, and Loon are the 3 Ruben picks that you usually expect at least once in a best of 3 by the former world champion. A noob over on Twitch saying, Rich, your glasses look cool. Yeah, that's why I wear them, bruh. If you do like these sunglasses, or if you're in the market for sunglasses, or if you just want to know what the heck am I wearing, these are Gooders. There's the link in the chat right now, gooder.com/Rich Slayton. They're a partner of my channel. We are now finally, the relationship has been made whole. We've been friends for a long time. You guys know I have so many. Most of my collection, I have about 35, 40 pairs. Most of my collection's in storage right now. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the Gooders. And you can see they don't watch this, they don't fall off. Because they're running sunglasses. Heck yeah. So you can get those if you want. I'll use my code, Rich Slayton, to get 15% off those sunglasses, by the way. Boom. I need to make a thing for that so people can actually see the code come up on screen. Or ask them to make it code Rich so it's the same as my Clash Royale code. When is the next game starting? Says Stan. Hopefully in a moment. We are beholden to the players pressing play. If the players don't press play, we can't start the game. So we're waiting for them to come on, get in. Omotayo asking, boss, do you have any tips to escape mid-ladder? Omotayo was asking me about this a lot yesterday, but obviously I can't escape mid-ladder, so I'm not the good person to answer that question. But boss, you might be a better person to answer the question that probably has been asked to you 7,000 times. Boss, do you have any tips to escape mid-ladder?
Yeah, I mean, usually the general tip I give is your card levels. Sadly, it's the truth, but card levels are the most important thing. But I always say you should try to upgrade things that are solid but not too broken, because if you're free to play and you can't spend a lot of money, you don't want something very good that you upgrade to just get nerfed, next month. That's what I would say. Try to upgrade things that are good but not broken.
And as someone who at one point had like an 85% maxed account and still couldn't break out a mid ladder, I would say also get a lot better is another tip. Is be good at Clash Royale, because just having the cards, as I improve from the pudding, not enough.
Yeah, that's an important factor too, for sure.
Extra stab there from the Goblin. So Ruben going drill wall breakers after he just got the dub on it over Wallace's variation. Of course, Ruben going with the Magic Archer version, and Ruben is a longtime Magic Archer fan. You talk about cards he's known for, obviously. Plays a lot of, we talk about win conditions mostly, but does mix in the MA a lot more than other players.
What time are you at? I'll try to...
I'm at 132, 31, 30,
okay.
29,
I'll pause.
28.
I'm about 10 seconds ahead.
Yeah, I'll give a count again in a second here. 25, 24. Bandit does pick things up. 22, 21, 20. And the Miner to stop the Bandit here. 18, 17, 16, 15.
All right, perfect.
Boom!
I think I'm caught up.
We're all caught up together, guys. That's, makes me so happy from a production standpoint. Wall breakers go to the left-hand side. I think wall breakers are, you talk about win conditions that got added to the game that really added something. I think wall breakers are one of those a big win as far as a win condition that got added to the game.
Yeah, they're very safe, and because they're only 2 elixir, it's not much of a risk, even if they don't break through and connect.
I think the big thing for me, though, is that they're fun and they're different, right? You look at so many of the win conditions in the game, and there's kind of a through line between them. But wall breakers are just like, hey, they're cheap. They do a lot when they hit, but there's no sustained damage. But they kind of create such a different style of gameplay.
Yeah. They are pretty fun and, fast-paced.
Miner in. Cannon Cart does not pick up the Miner. And Drill goes to the opposite lane of the wall breakers. And one wall breaker sneaks away and gets on through. So 1982, the mark on the right-hand side. Ruben in the lead here in game number 3 as we go into sudden death overtime.
Yeah, Ruben doing a great job getting damage, because, if you look at Wallace's deck, he's got a couple pretty good counters to the Drill, the Bomb Tower, and the Dark Prince, which is, I would say, the best counter to it in the game.
And Magic Archer does not get a lineup there on the right-hand side. Bandit gets picked up by Skeletons and close enough to not dash. Keep an eye on that, folks. The number of you who pick up a Bandit and then have it still dash to your tower, look at that Skeleton placement by Wallace to make sure that didn't happen. Little lesson learned there. Your Skeletons don't always go in the middle, folks. Copper Spike saying, didn't Ruben already use Cannon Cart? Well, his cards are on the left-hand side. And no, he used Flying Machine, which is like a cannon cart for the skies.
Oh yeah, that's a nice feature they got, that they show the decks on the side.
Royal Ghost getting 1 shot, getting 2 shots, does not get a third courtesy of that log, but still damage in 13-15. Both towers in trouble right now for Wallace as we go into our triple elixir period. And you got to feel like the advantage is pretty heavy to Ruben in triple elixir in this matchup.
Oh yeah, the only thing Wallace has got going for him, the only reason he has a chance, is he does have a big spell, right, and a Miner, and he's pretty much guaranteed damage every time, so he might be able to catch up, but it's still not looking good for him at all at this point.
Drill in, Cannon Cart Ghost on the right-hand side. Magic Archer gets stopped by the Dark Prince from stopping the Bomb Tower, but still, now Magic Archer will turn and get on the Bomb Tower. Miner not coming out. The Bandit was trying to predict a Miner potentially. And Miner this time does get on the tower. Snowball to push it off. Poison will be in, though. This is going to be big here. Wallbreaker's trying to get all the way through. Poison and Log not going to be there to do it. Wallbreaker doesn't connect. Oh, does connect. Wow. Ruben gets it done, wins this one in 3, and we're going to have a Ruben versus Mohamed Light winner's bracket final. That's what you want on a championship Sunday.
Yeah, Ruben played that very well. He was ahead. He was in control of the game the whole time, and that deck is great at pressuring throughout the match. You know, you got the Drill, Magic Archer, Bandit. That's about as good as it gets when you get into, you know, like bridge spam and, you know, keeping your opponent on their toes throughout the match.
Yeah, that was a fun one. Mr. Wallace's toast, bring peanut butter and jelly, says Mr. Pezra. Yeah, I agree with it. Ruben wrecked it, says Ania. Yep, Ruben making me eat my words today. Yeah, a lot of people are, you know, kind of Ruben haters, oddly enough. I never really understood it, but, you know, a lot of people have their, like, maybe it's because they're fans of somebody else, or who knows what it is. But either way, Ruben with a nice win here, and we get to see a great matchup.
I think it might have to do with the different communities. Like in the Spanish community, Ruben is loved by like everyone. It might be the English community. You have maybe more fans of other players, like maybe Light or Morton, for example. So it might be just based off of communities and stuff.
It's very possible, and of course, you know, there's the big Moogie versus Ruben was the debate in 2020, and then 2021 was Moogie versus Light. So maybe it's the Moogie fans who are in that one. Here, go take a look at where Wallace will find himself in the elimination bracket up against Wero. So I believe that our next 2 matches are going to be Vitor versus Pandora, and then Wero versus Wallace. And then I believe we go into the winners of those 2 directly after that, although I could be wrong about the timing. Let me go ahead and check. I know we have a schedule here. Oh, here we go. Look at the upper bracket. There you go. Your upper bracket semifinals. It's the winner bracket final, but it's the overall semifinal of the match, and that's going to be Mohamed Light versus Ruben. Man, what else could you want but Light versus Ruben? Let's go. So here's the order, folks. It's going to be the Pandora versus Vitor. Then it's going to be Wallace versus Wero. And then we're going to get the Light versus Ruben matchup. That's the match order for these next few. So, whoo, boy, man, all of those are bangers, but it's just, there's something about two true world champions, true world-class players facing off head-to-head. Ashwin, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm definitely just as excited as you are about the Light versus Ruben one. Yeah,
it's so good. Ashwin Papat saying, hey, Rich, what's the prize pool? Great question there, Ashwin. It's a 30,000 euros, I believe, is the total. The grand champion of this competition gets 15,000 euros. 7,500 goes to second place. Third place gets 4,000, and fourth place gets 2K. And Ruben and Mo now are both guaranteed third place or higher, so both guaranteed at least $4,000. The other 4 players you see in the lower bracket we're about to watch right now, they are all playing they're playing BO3s for a minimum of 2K, and then possibly more than that. So all the numbers, by the way, are in euros. If you do dollars, add a little bit. Like the 15,000 euro grand prize is about $17,000. So there you go. Mohammed will showing why he's number 1, still waiting for moments. Yeah, Mo will be here. Are players allowed to change their decks for the next series? Absolutely. Yep, absolutely, no question. But coming up next, right, we have a little while before Mo and Ruben. Coming up next, Pandora versus Vitor. So we just went from one of Pain Gaming's players out of Brazil to Pain Gaming's Portuguese pro. Coming up now in Vitor up against Pandora. And obviously Pandora had a tough outing against Mohamed Light. And Vitor's still a great player, but maybe a little, here's a question for you, boss. Is it a breath of fresh air to not be playing against Mo Light again? Or is it more nerve-wracking because now you're in an elimination match, whereas before you had a life to give?
Yeah, that's really a tough one. I mean, it really depends on the, kind of the mindset of the player. But obviously, it doesn't matter who you are. You don't want to be against Mohamed Light. So whoever you're against besides him is always going to be a little bit easier of a task. But with that being said, if because of just having that loss, I just feel like from my experience, coming out of a loss is always kind of a rough feeling, and then getting sent to the loser bracket.
It's always a little rough, and here we go. Vitor up against Pandora, and you can see solid win rates for both throughout this competition, which would make sense because the place they are here. Are there other repeat cards in a BO3? Asked Tyton 9630 over on Twitch. No, this is dual mode, so no repeating cards within the best of 3. You got to use up to the 24 unique cards. Golden Knight both ways. I don't know which champion are you playing the most, boss? Are you AQ spamming, or are you getting some dashes in?
I like using both. I feel like for duels especially, I feel like I'm always using both in every duel set just because they're both so strong and they both fit kind of in different decks. But I think ladder, I don't know what it is on ladder, especially the Archer Queen seems to be a little bit more dominant.
She certainly seems to be everywhere. Maybe people feel the Golden Knight's too unpredictable, and also maybe the meta is not as swarmy as the Golden Knight might benefit from with those big bing bing bong bing bong bings everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Because in competitive, I think you see more mortar, and Golden Knight can do really good against all those like cheap cards like the Spear Goblins and Guards. So Vitor rocking RG here, it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, what has Fisherman even played in these days besides Royal Giant? It feels like it's pretty much an RG card or someone's getting weird.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't really see it in anything else unless it's some strange off-meta, like Recruit deck or something, or maybe Mega Knight deck of some sort, but otherwise, probably not.
If you rewind to 2019, in 2019, the pairing was either Fisherman P.E.K.K.A. or Fisherman Hunter were the two big combinations that were used a lot back then for the pull kaboom. I think I even named it Fish Goes Boom at once, the combination with the Hunter, but P.E.K.K.A. Fisherman was big for a minute, not anymore.
Yeah, I guess just the meta has kind of evolved a lot since then. I think a big part of that definitely was, champions kind of changed up the the play style of the games and what synergizes well in decks.
Fisherman low here. Lightning takes care of business. That's a Ram Rider getting in deep. Snowball to make some more room, and
wow.
The defense stays alive, but look at the damage in both lanes. Golden Knight headbanging that left-hand tower with a little extra from the dash, and that Royal Giant should get controlled pretty nicely here. Will get, I believe, 2 shots, but not going to get beyond that, I think. Does the third get in? And no, the Lightning tries to make it happen. Does give no, never mind. 1 HP difference as we go into the final 90.
Yeah, that was a great push, though, by Vitor. It was looking very bad for him, but now, I mean, it's anyone's game at this point. It's just a question of can Vitor, keep his defense strong here.
Ram Rider in one more time. Mother Witch plus Log trying to work against the Ram Rider. Does she touch? And she does. Golden Knight going to die on the vine on the left-hand side. And now this is a pretty big Royal Giant push. Mega Knight high, Cage, not back, and cycle quite, and there it goes, just in time for the pushback.
Yeah, Vitor needs to find a way to either break through with an RG or get a Lightning down, or he's going to be in a lot of trouble here.
Lightning work so far has been really, really aggressive and really good from Vitor. Good slowdown here to buy time for that Cage. Royal Giant trying to break on through. Ram Rider not going to let it happen. Final 30 seconds. And this is feeling like bad news for Pandora.
Oh, yeah, Pandora just getting overwhelmed now.
Lightning in.
Yeah, that's it.
Royal Giant hits. Vitor going to take game number 1 off of Pandora. GG, well played.
Yeah, it was a great turnaround by Vitor. He had a rough start, and then as soon as he started going in for those RGs, he was able to get damage pretty much every single time with the help of the Lightnings.
Here we go. Let's go ahead and take a look at a replay moment from this one. And big thanks to Chuckwagon over on Twitch for getting all the clips loaded up so that I can download them. All these replays, a lot of these replays, folks, are mod on Twitch, clipping stuff. I download the clip and then load them into OBS really fast. So here you go. This is the dual lane damage that set the stage early on. It seemed like Pandora wasn't a great shot here, but as you saw, every single time, Pandora had to spend a lot and just could not keep those Royal Giants off the tower.
Yeah, I think Pandora's deck, you notice it doesn't have a lot of DPS. Really, the only solid counter he had to the RG was the Goblin Cage, but because his deck was pretty expensive, he sometimes didn't have it in cycle, or Vitor could just play Lightning and get it out of the way, you know, hitting maybe a Cannon Cart with it, or an E-Wiz, or whatever other support cards he could. I'm
going to go ahead and I'm going to do one of these, folks, real quick. I'm going to go ahead and drop in. There we go. Oh, that's not even a good-looking button, but it's a button. Either way. I just wanted to put in something here that tells people it's a replay and not the actual game. That's not the best, but you know what? That'll have to do. There's a big replay button there for when we do replays, so it's not as confusing to people. I'll try to put that into all of them. That is really ugly.
Well, it's better than nothing, right?
Yeah, it is better than nothing. So there you go. We have a replay button. Let me go ahead and just add that into all of the replay sections that we have. There we go.
I definitely think it is worth adding because I could see why the replay could confuse people.
Yeah, I'll make a nicer one for the future. And speaking of making nice stuff, guys, do you like nice Clash Royale gameplay? And nice, I mean like real nice Clash Royale gameplay. Do you like it explained very well by a top-tier player? Well, here you go. This is Boss's Twitter account, where he's linked to both his Twitch and to his YouTube, making content all the time, is my co-caster at BossCR. Go ahead, follow him on Twitter. And, of course, just passed 100K on YouTube. And there's a reason why, because this stuff is pretty cool. So go check out my co-caster on both Twitch, YouTube, and follow him on Twitter. See what he thinks about competitive Clash Royale stuff. And here we go into game number 2. Lightning out on both sides. Do you suspect some Archer Queens here, boss?
Yeah, I would not be surprised at all, and thank you for that shout out, by the way. And yeah, right as you say that, Archer Queen comes down. So there you go.
So if you don't have Lightning, what do you think? And you expect to face Archer Queen, what do you put together from your spell perspective? I personally really liked Royal Delivery. Oh, and a failed King Tower activation for Pandora. Oh boy, that could have been a lot worse, but it does put him in a 3 elixir hole.
Seems like Pandora might be a little tilted now. We were talking about, you know, if that loss against Mo, you know, how he would be feeling, and it seems like now we can say he's probably a little tilted, and that tornado kind of shows it right there.
And so an interesting variation of what I'm assuming is Hog EQ with the Tesla maybe delivery here, plus Earthquake. The guards, of course, there instead of the skeletons, so a little bit slower cycle. And that one will get a King Tower activation, but still big damage lead and 1 elixir lead for Vitor. So I was going to ask the question, if you don't have the Lightning for the Archer Queen, what's your preferred spell combination for dealing with her?
Poison's not bad, because with the log, it'll take it out, and also Poison will keep it kind of slow, so, you know, slow it down, so if it's like next to the tower, you can poison it and it'll stay inside for a long time. So Graveyard actually does a pretty good job against Archer Queen overall, you see here. And then also another card that does well against it, obviously, is the Rocket. Especially if you can hit something else with it. And like you said, too, with the Delivery is definitely another solid answer to the Queen, because it's a good distraction and does some good damage to it.
Guards working on defense here. Delivery high on the Baby Dragon, so no tankage in. Good shutdown here for Vitor so far, and wonder if he was predicting that he was... I mean, this is an interesting overall deck to pick when you think you might be up against Graveyard, but maybe he was hedging the possibility of Graveyard by going with guards rather than skeletons?
Yeah, that's actually a really good point there. I was thinking that too, because typically when you see Hog, you'll see it with skeletons, but the guards will help him out a lot against Graveyard. So maybe, you know, his analyst wanted to, you know, go with something that is going to give him a better shot against Graveyard, something that Hog would normally struggle against when you're against obviously a building and a tornado. It's not what you want to see.
It does also free up in triple elixir the EQ for more damage, because that Earthquake is actually really phenomenal against Graveyard. It's kind of underrated against Graveyard on defense, but such a huge part of the offensive output. So maybe the guards also free up some of that Earthquake play.
Yeah, he won't have to constantly use it on the Graveyard, which is what he certainly would have to do if he had skeletons instead.
Barbarian barrel in, using its full given name on this one. And Poison Cycle continuing, but Poison ain't keeping up with an Earthquake. No way, no how.
Yeah, Pandora needs to make something happen here and fast. He probably, I mean, you got to imagine in triple elixir, he's just going to be relentless with the Graveyards.
So here we go, approaching triple right now, Graveyard down, full Graveyard Poison push, guards will survive a bit longer. Hog Rider does get pulled appropriately by that NATO this time, and the lead 10-24 to 13-67. So wow, that last Baby Dragon splash did quite a bit there, and just like that, Pandora's back in the game.
It seems like it's anyone's match now. I mean, Vitor had a massive lead, but Graveyard kind of doing what it does best. It accumulates a lot of damage in triple elixir because it's harder for the opponent to defend often.
Hog Rider in. And not even using, this is interesting. You're seeing opting to save one elixir and not trying to go with the bomb towers on defense against the Hogs is Pandora. Saves the elixir, allows him to push with more troops here. And that NATO's everything back, EQ in. Can the Skeletons get enough in? They're trying. Hog not going to get there. 375. Wow. Oh, my word. Oh, my word. Pandora slides on through. Vitor cannot believe it.
I can't believe it either. Jeez.
Unbelievable. Sheesh. That's a play right there. And, yeah, we know what we have to look at in just a moment here.
I wonder if Vitor used that Earthquake on the Graveyard instead of on offense, would he have defended? Because he took so much damage from those Skeletons at the end.
Yeah, well, let's go ahead and get a couple replays going here. Let's go and give me 1 second, folks, as I get them all loaded up. And, oh, looks like they're going to do the replay themselves. So thanks for saving me the trouble here in the replay booth. So here are those final 28 seconds. Hog Rider comes in, Earthquake on offense. And this was interesting. This is what I was talking about, using NATOs rather than the bomb towers. Bomb tower is 4 elixir, and it's not going to stop everything on its own. And it kind of just feeds that Earthquake a little bit, right? So using NATOs instead saves the extra elixir. Poison in, Graveyard goes down, and you're absolutely right. He Earthquakes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, but I wonder if he needed to Earthquake to stay ahead. That's what I'm wondering, right? Like, could he have? Is there any way that he doesn't? And you know what? Let me go ahead and load the replay up. We're going to get really into the weeds here on this one. Let's go. This is a replay from earlier in that same match as we're getting these ones, as I'm getting this last replay loaded. Give me 1 second, folks.
I think he would have, I think Vitor would have gotten it if he Earthquaked on defense because it looked like he was ahead by like 500 or something.
So that was the failed King Tower activation. Felt like Pandora was too far behind at that point. But here we go. Here's the replay. So what were you saying, boss?
I think Vitor would have gotten it if he played it on defense because I guess you could double check, but I think he was ahead by 400, 500 HP, something around there.
So here we go. Final 10 seconds left as the Poison and Graveyard come in. It's 6:04 to 11:43. So there we are. Hog comes down. A Hog gets NATO'd back. And so here we go. When he plays the Earthquake, let me take this back a little bit. Let's see. Hog comes in. So NATO comes back. When he plays the Earthquake, it's 7:30 to 6:04. And if we think about, it's 7:30 to 6:04, right? So the Earthquake, what I don't know is how many ticks of poison. There's 1 tick left, 2 ticks. There's at least, I think there might have been enough poison left that there was no way to stop that, right? I think that's what I'm thinking. I'm trying to, man, how many? Yeah, 6:04, 1 tick, 2 tick. Man, I don't know.
It's hard to say, yeah. That's
really hard to say. I'd have to go down and like really break that down like frame by frame later and count that out. That might have been enough poison to win, and it might not have been. Man,
Yeah, I remember you used to do the breakdown, the play videos where didn't you do some kind of like fancy editing or something, and you were actually able to like rewind and
Yeah,
what could have happened?
The alternate reality stuff. Yeah, I did some. There was some fancy
Yeah.
footwork there. I did one of those a little while ago actually. For I didn't do the alternate reality, but I did an inside the play for Vitor recently. I love doing that series. It's a lot of work for a very niche audience, but they are fun to do for me. So maybe I'll throw in a couple more here and there over time. We'll see. PKZ saying, missed the background with the glasses and CR merch. Guys, my background's coming back. I'm in a garage right now. My house is under construction, being remodeled right now. So all the full background with all the stuff will come back, bigger and better. But right now I'm in a green screen in a garage because that's what duty calls. I couldn't stop hosting these things for you guys, but my office currently is completely a construction zone. So there you go. Zenko the Joker saying, Rich, inform us, did the CRL teams come back? No. There you go. It's, no. I remember that. The best content. Yeah, the Inside the Play was fun, but a lot of work for a very specific audience that likes it. Let's see. Poison ticks 28 per second. See the HP difference in time left. Yeah, what I didn't know was the time left exactly, but here we go. Let's jump into game number 3. Vitor. How does he get his head back after that one?
Yeah, he's still in this, though. I mean, it's 1-1. Anyone's set to win at this point.
And now it's Pandora's turn to go Earthquake. With the Hog Rider as well. And is he up against Royal Hogs? And if so, is he using the bomb? No, he's not using the Bomb Tower variant. I wonder if Vitor is going with Royal Hogs here. And seeing the Bomb Tower out, seeing the cage out.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Vitor, I don't know, might even be something like Mortar. I don't know.
Might be GY in a weird version of it too.
Yeah, Mortar or Graveyard. Maybe it is Mortar and Graveyard in the same deck.
There you go.
Yep.
And what an interesting call here, right? Poison out, sure, that opens up more possibilities for Graveyard. Bomb Tower out. NATO, so no King Tower activations if you have an errant Mortar placement or Graveyard placement, or at least
and
fewer.
Cage, okay, so he opts to go for Cage instead of Mortar.
Very interesting. I don't know what the CRL 2022 format is going to be exactly yet, folks. I know that Max recently announced that it's being worked on and should be announced this month. So when it comes out, we'll all know.
What did you think of the format last year? Is there any changes you would make, or did you like it overall?
I don't love ladder being the qualifying methodology. I think that a series of challenges might be a better initial play-in than ladder, but there's various reasons that make sense for either one. I'll say this: I do think that World Finals this year got us pretty close to like the 32 players who were there, give or take, maybe half a dozen that felt like it was the top 32 players in the world, right? So the format at least felt like it did actually give us a World Finals that had nearly all the best players on the planet, and was pretty accurate, especially when you get to like the top, talking about top 10, top 15. There's no player who I think was a top 10 player last year who didn't make World Finals, right? So I think the format did that very well. I think there are other ways the qualifying could happen besides ladder that could be cool. But, I see the argument either way. The only hard thing for me about it, and, I like teams for a lot of different reasons, but they're not coming back. The hard thing for me about it was that since it was so different every month, it was more difficult to have storylines, rivalries, those back and forth between players, right? Like CRL was CRL teams was defined for a year by Team Liquid versus SK, right? By Morton versus Surgical Goblin, with Liquid winning the first Western Regionals, SK winning the second, that World Finals. There was a clear through line and storyline there that had depth to it. When the players turn over every month, that makes it more challenging to tell those stories sometimes. So I don't know if there is a really perfect I don't know if there is a perfect version or a perfect solution that takes that gives you that. But still, I will say this, that I do think that we got to see some of the best gameplay ever last year because of the format, and that we had a World Finals that very clearly was the best in the world.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you there. And I mean, another benefit of the format is it gives everyone a chance, right? I mean, perfect example of that was Ta, you know,
Sure.
Someone no one expected, you know, coming out winning the monthly final. I think people thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, there's definitely the opportunity. Yeah, it had opportunity for players to have big breakouts and break in, while still, you know, we saw the best players continue to win. And some players proved they could be counted among that best. Speaking of that, we have 2 players trying to make sure they are counted in that number as we go into our final 35 seconds left in game number 3. Winner moves on and wins a guaranteed $2,000. Loser leaves town with the top 6 finish. Hog Rider in on the left hand, on that right hand side, gets 2 shots, maybe a bit more here, but that Valk trying to clean up the graveyard. Hog Rider in one more time. Is Cage back in cycle? And the Earthquake before the Cage, maybe a bit of a miscalculation here on the side of Pandora. The Hog does not hit. Arrows in. Snowball in as well. Can those skeletons get on tower? And they cannot.
Wow.
Pandora holds on. GG. Well played. Top 6 finish for Vitor, but Pandora makes it to your top 4.
Man, that was 2 rough games for Vitor there in the final, you know, like minute. Very, very tight, close games. And yeah, Pandora bouncing back in that set. It's ball play by him.
GG, well played. Pandora with the come from behind, the reverse sweep, if you will. And moving on to our top of our lower bracket. I'm still trying to get the cadence of how they exactly do those transitions there. Let me go ahead and set you up with a little bit of a little replay action here from a key moment that might have been sort of the game-defining moment in that one. Give me 1 second here. And let's go into this quick replay. And this is the Hog sliding on through here. And the Cage comes up not exactly in line. Oh, no, this is before that cycle. I think we cycled one more Hog here before that happens. That one did take care of business. And there you go. This time the Hog sneaks through. And just, I guess, not able to get back to Cage here. And that's going to come with 2 shots. Yeah, that's just a little bit too much here. So the Baby Dragon, the second Baby Dragon, may be a bit of an overcommit on the side of Vitor there, boss?
Yeah, it could have been. I actually don't know where in the replay you were at the very end.
Yeah, so I'm at the are you going back and forth in the clean feed?
No, I'm not. Right now I'm just I see Revol in the
Revol. Yeah,
other guy.
Revol,
Yeah.
So there was this was about 30 seconds left, and I have it up on the YouTube right now. This was interesting, right? So you see the trying to push in a second Baby Dragon behind a healthy Baby Dragon, which does put some more pressure in, but the Hog comes through, Cage not in cycle, Zappy's not there to help slow it down, and that Hog just slides right on through for 2 hits, and those 2 hits more than enough to guarantee the game for Pandora.
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna pull up your YouTube too, so I have that up, so I can see if you're showing the replay on there.
Rich asking, can I flash the bracket again? I'm not in charge of that, but the bracket is in the description, folks, and I will link it here in chat as well. Give me 1 second to go ahead and copy that bracket, and I will link it in. So if you guys want to check out the bracket yourselves on Challenge, there you go. There's the bracket. Man, if Vitor used those Zappies on defense, says Beast Carl. Yeah, I'm wondering too if that might have been the big game changer. But here we go into our next elimination matchup: Wallace against Wero. All-time ladder great in Wero. Top bridge spam player in the world up against stepping into more content, I believe, is Wallace, and it's hard to wear that red jersey and not be making a whole bunch of content all the time.
Yeah, and something I want to add about Wero real quick. Remember a second ago you were just talking about, you know, pretty much all 32 players who made Worlds pretty much deserved it. I feel like Wero is one of those players who I would say kind of deserved it, and he didn't make it primarily because he didn't have a I believe because it was a ban or whatever the case is, he didn't have a maxed account available the first couple months of the CRL season. So he's someone in 2022, I would not be surprised at all to see him in World Finals.
Well, I'll say this. I mean, I've always known about Wero, obviously a great ladder player, rumored to be connected to many CRL teams. Going back to 2019, nice King Tower activation, but it never worked out for various reasons. But I never saw him play in these type of competitions until recently, right? It wasn't until the last few months that he really started showing up in these things regularly. And that's a huge difference, playing competitive regularly versus playing ladder regularly. And it seems like he is picking up the pace as we go into this year, and I think you could be very right.
Yeah. A large part of that, too, was he might have not been... Maybe he didn't have the motivation there. I remember there was, I forget what it was. Maybe it was no-tilt Worlds for the country-based edition. There was a one point a couple of years ago he didn't play because he didn't want to. He was actually, like, offered to be on the team and maybe just didn't have an interest to play competitive.
Money Mitch is betting $100,000, his mortgage, car, and life insurance all on Mohamed Light to win the whole tournament.
Well, that's a good person to bet on, I'll tell you that.
And thanks, DJ Badhand, for hit that sub button. Appreciate it, folks. It'd be cool to hit 50K today. I don't know if that's plausible, but, you know, if we made it happen today, that'd be a whole lot of fun. Maybe I'd do something with it. Who knows? Where are we at right now? We are currently at 49,038. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get 1,000 subs today.
900 away. You're really close.
Guys, call your grandmas. Call your aunts and uncles.
Guys, drop a sub.
1513 to 2099. 2099, is that the name of is that like the year for what was that recent game that came out that was it Cyberpunk 2099, or was it a different year that they gave?
Ooh, I don't know. I actually don't know if I'm familiar with that game.
It was the big launch of the year and then turned out to be kind of a bust. Either way, 2099, that's a number. I always have to. It has to be tied into something, right? NATO, does it work? Wow, I can't believe that defense actually kept that Ram Rider off. Wero threw everything at it. Threw NATO, Valkyrie, Goblin Brawler, Goblin Cage, the kitchen sink. I think I saw an actual kitchen sink out there, and he kept that Ram Rider from touching tower. And now we're into the final 70 seconds. And Wero maintains the lead over Wallace.
Yeah, that's the thing about Ram Rider, is even though you think Tornado's a good counter to it, it tends to not do that good against it because you can pull it back, but the Ram Rider will still be charged up, you know, so it still makes it difficult to defend after the Tornado, you know, expires.
If anyone does have a sandwich from Chuck Wagon's interjection here on Twitter, or on Twitch, it's almost lunchtime. It's 11:15 my time, so would appreciate that. If that's the kind of sub you want to drop, hook your brother up. Mega Knight gets away because of the lightning. Cage not there in time. Wero with the recovery NATO. Ram Rider doesn't hit that right-hand side, but Ram Rider onto the left-hand side.
Wow, the Mega Knight.
And Cage does hold on one more time. 12:45 in the final 15 seconds here. Wero trying to find his way back. Graveyard certainly can make a push here. Graveyard plus poison in. Does he NATO stuff away here? He NATOs it in. Snowball to push. Lightning does it win. Snowball not needed. Wallace takes game number one in a nail biter. Let's go.
Whoa. Yeah, now I think you're a little ahead of me. We can fix it next game.
It's always hard to figure out. Let's see. DJ Banhand. Me, Grandma, will you please subscribe to Rich Slayton? Grandma, what kind of publication is Rich Slayton? Me, on YouTube, Grandma. Grandma, what's YouTube? Is that a good impression? I think that's a perfect impression of your grandma, by the way. I think I nailed that. That's your grandma's voice, definitely. Right? You should play that to her and be like, look, this guy does your voice so perfectly. Here we go. Looking at the finish. And this is just Wero doing everything he can to keep that off the tower, but the lightning damage certainly enough to give him a solid lead for Wallace. And this push from Wero, this is interesting, right? So the choice, where he NATOs into... Is that just because he was trying to NATO get stuff away from the inside of the graveyard for skeletons to get on tower?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I feel like he just was kind of playing the tornado just as a way to damage the tower. He probably in that moment wasn't concerned with where the placement was, because I felt like at that point he was just desperate to try to get all the damage he could and try to, you know, get more than that lightning, but didn't end up paying off for him.
Let me go ahead and see if I can load in the replay on this one. Wero, Wallace, game, what was that, game 1 finish?
That was game 1, I believe.
All right, let me go ahead and load and see if I can load this one in here. And it did look like there were some little Larrys right there on the tower at the very end. So that was just almost a little bit of a timing situation that was challenging. Let's go ahead and take a look at the replay here one more time. And we have control of it this time. This one isn't from the booth. Lightning comes in. Let me skip ahead of here a little bit. So right here, you can hear me actually. Does he NATO stuff away from the tower? And he NATOs it over to the outside. You can see the graveyard placement, standard graveyard placement, meaning that the skeletons that spawn on the inside have a better chance of getting to tower than those ones. So that's probably that might be the best NATO placement if you go back a little bit here. Let me go ahead and play that from there. Yep. Pretty good spot. Well, either way, didn't get the win. You'll see the little Larrys there on the end. Let's go ahead and jump into game number 2. Wallace with match point.
Yeah, I think you were right about the tornado, the ghost especially, because the ghost has to actually walk back to where the skeletons were. So I think that NATO was pretty good by Wero.
God JW asking, is the winner of the lost bracket play the winner of the top bracket as final? Yes. So whoever wins the lower bracket goes back up to challenge the winner of the upper bracket, and they have to double win because the upper bracket still has that life to give. That's the advantage of being in the winner's bracket the whole way through.
Up, and Wero coming out with bridge spam. No surprise there.
Gotta wonder how ready for that Wallace is in this situation.
The thing about Wero is he's one of those players that even if it's a difficult matchup, he can pretty much win anything with bridge spam. It's incredible to watch. Like, he's one of the players I really like watching on my friends list, just because he, you know, when we talk about, like, you know, Viper with HogX NATO, Igor Mortar, he's like, he plays it to perfection, you know, multiple different variations of bridge spam.
Miner does get on tower on the inside. And Wallace remembering that we had NATO last game, so getting an early variation on those Miner placements. And the log does not get the Magic Archer off tower there, so one extra shot does come in, 23-82 to 21-19, as we are 15 seconds away here from sudden death, or not from sudden death, from double elixir. And boss, I'll give you a little count here as it slows down for a moment so that we can make sure we're synced up. I'm at a minute 2, a minute 3, 1 minute, 59 seconds, 58,
okay.
57.
I think I'm good now. It's just I think 2 or 3 seconds behind.
Miner rocket, and decides to go ahead and get rocket damage, but not rocket value, spending that on the Royal Ghost.
Ooh, delivery doesn't hit the Magic Archer.
That's
so
rough.
Good counter push for Wero here.
But Rocket gets all the way around, and did you see what did he play high to get the Golden Knight to go backwards? Was that an Ice Spirit? Because that Golden Knight went back into the Rocket.
Yeah, I think it was an Ice Spirit. It was either that or Skeletons.
Clip that. Clip that. That was a beautiful recovery by Wallace, because that looked like he was in a whole lot of trouble. But the Ice Spirit, I think the Skeletons came out later. Whatever it was, nice play to pull that back. Wallace playing some top-tier Clash Royale right now.
Yeah, great Tesla there, too, to take out that Magic Archer.
Here we are, sudden death overtime. What does Wero need to do to break through and get some damage here?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because Wero, oftentimes when he uses bridge spam, he loves using the variation with the Lumberjack and the Inferno Drag. But I feel like since he doesn't have Lumberjack, it's harder for him to, you know, overwhelm and build a massive push, you know, with the Rage. So he's going to have to try to find a way to maybe get a Golden Knight to the tower or multiple Magic Archer hits. I feel like that's the only way at this point, but it's not looking too good for him.
Not looking good at all.
Also, something that's very interesting is notice how Wero has the Bandit and the Golden Knight in the same deck. Typically, you don't see those two cards in the same deck because they both serve a similar purpose.
And still, Rocket being, after the earlier Rockets, now these Rockets here at the bridge just controlling. Final 35 seconds left.
Yeah, and Wero's still not able to make anything happen. Wallace is just having incredible defense here.
And this is also veteran play in Wallace, not trying to force the tower damage, right? Just a little minor here and there to get a little extra security, but instead just shutting it down on defense, not trying to run that final race. Should see a Rocket here at the bridge just to secure things. Maybe doesn't need it. GG, well played. Wallace shuts things down here in game number 2. Clean 2-0 sweep. And Wallace now going on to our top 4, guaranteed $2,000.
Yeah, and Wallace has got to feel, pretty good after that one, because not only did he have a, well, great deck selection, good matchup, but it doesn't matter what matchup, you have against Wero. When he's using, bridge spam, you're going to have to play it well, and that's exactly what he did. There weren't really any noticeable mistakes, and the Rockets were just value every single time, and a good amount of his deliveries, too.
It seems like there was one that missed a Magic Archer. I see some people commenting on that one here. Let's take a look at the bracket for the moment. The lower bracket championship, Pandora versus Wallace. The winner will move into the top 3 and will face the loser of Mo versus Ruben. So Pandora and Wallace both guaranteed a top 4 finish. But coming up next, Mohamed Light versus Ruben. Come on, this is what you're here for.
Yeah, it feels like both of these players always seem to, meet each other in the final of these types of events.
This is going to be a whole lot of fun to watch. Let's go take a look at some of the replays from that last matchup. I believe, this is the first round of Rocket Cycles. So you see the Rocket come down on the Royal Ghost in the back, and now quick cycling here from Wallace. The Barbaro comes out to pick up that Tesla. This is a stack right here, and here we go. This was the delivery that didn't hit. Golden Knight comes down. Wero's pushing like crazy, and it was just a log. I saw someone say the log. The Ice Spirit got played earlier that I guess helped the Golden Knight stay up high. I thought the Golden Knight had turned back up towards the bridge when it got hit by that log, but it was just a log. Either way, nice shutdown play there, and then a little bit later here. I guess this is the same log one more time. Never mind. I thought it was a different same Rocket. Oh, no, here you go. Again, I think a late, there you go, shutdown Rocket there at the bridge. So that was the story here. Wallace with some Rocket on tower, but a lot of Rocket on defense, shutting things down. GG, well played. Wallace moving on. Did Moogie play in this tournament? Not that I'm aware of. I don't think so. All right, guys. Coming up next, though, Mo versus Ruben. I know we're going to have a prediction over on the Twitch side here, and let me go ahead and see what the current results are on Twitch right now. People laying heavy on Mo Light, 15,000 channel points on Mo Light, and just under 4,000 on Ruben. Let's see what you got in the YouTube chat, guys. Let's see, Mo Light or Ruben. Get your votes in. Let's get a straw poll going and see what you think. Boss, is there any way you bet against Mo Light right now, or is Ruben in the zone?
I like how Ruben's playing, but I gotta go with Mo Light, and not just because I think Mo Light's the best player in the game right now, just based off of what I've seen in the past, the last year. I think Mo Light's got a pretty good record against Ruben. I don't exactly know what it is, but I think won against him more than he's lost by a good amount now, just based off of last year. So there's just no way I can bet against him.
I'm trying to see if I can get a tweet for this match out quickly enough. But too many things happening on my computer, and my Twitter is not liking me. Let me see if I can get this one going. in the... Oh, my Lord. My computer is... Too many things happening. My computer is freezing up. At Esports Royale. Hashtag Clash Royale. And I'm tweeting this one out. Hashtag Clash Royale Esports. That's what I meant. And let's do this. Boom. And there you go. Tweeted. Who's excited? All right, so let's take a look at let's look at the chat here for a moment and see what all the votes are coming in for Mo Light versus Ruben. The channel points now, it's 51,000 channel points, almost 52,000 channel points bet on Mo Light, 21,000 bet on Ruben. Let me go take a look at the YouTube chat. Kunal saying Ruben, Anton saying Mo, Epic Clash here saying Mo, Rizcall saying Mo. A lot of Mo's here. Another vote for Mohamed Light here. Fafi X saying Ruben. N Polder saying Ruben. Sin of Awesomeness betting for Ruben. It does seem like we have about a 2/3 to 1/3 split here, maybe more. At least a quarter of people seem like they're calling for Ruben, but definitely the lean is towards Mo here. And everyone knows I'm a huge fan of Ruben. I've been for a long time. I do think I have to pick Mo here, but I'm not picking Mo by a mile. I think it's about let's call it a 2-3 or a 2-1 ratio, right? 2/3 for Mo and 1/3 for Ruben. Like the votes, that's kind of my opinion right here, boss.
Yeah, that's where I stand too. Like if I would, bet it in terms of percent, I would say, Mo has maybe 60% chance of winning, something like that. So I think that sounds about right to me.
Interesting note here is that Mohamed is not working with Julesy during this competition, and he's been doing great with the analysis. It's been Jeebus as his partner for analysis throughout this competition. So that's an interesting wrinkle to keep in mind when thinking about Mo. Of course, it's turned out pretty well so far.
Yeah, that's a very good point, because it was pretty much primarily Julesy helping Mo last year, but Jabuz has, proven himself to be a great analyst. We saw that in World Finals. He helped several players, not just in World Finals, but also in the LCQ that actually advance to the World Finals, such as Vitor and probably a couple others that I can't think of off the top of my head right now.
Let's go take a look at the where the channel points voting is on Twitch now. Oh, did it close? Where do I see the... Oh, it disappeared. Why can't I find it? Oh, well, I'll find it again. It'll show up at some point. Man, KN Gautam, light bulb's going to win. He's put that in there a lot, so... Yeah, it's closed, so I can't see the voting then now? Is that what happens? It'll be up pretty soon. Oh, / predictions. That's how I get it back up. All right. Let me see. Let me see how that works. Unrecognized command. Well, that didn't do anything. Good to know. Who do I think will win? I said I think I give Mo a 2 out of 3 chance and Ruben a 1 out of 3 chance in this matchup. That's kind of how I view this one. I think that Mo is a little bit more dialed in, and Mo's been harder to read. The big question here is, does Ruben and team come up with something that Mo and Jeebus aren't prepared for? Right? That's the big question here. And so far, that really hasn't been the case with Ruben as of late.
Yeah, I agree there. I really liked the deck picks coming out from Ruben. I felt like we saw some things we might not normally expect. I mean, we saw him open with Lava game 1, but then after that, Electro Giant and some Drill Bridge.
And this is actually fascinating. I think we lost you there for a second.
Expect out of Ruben, not something you could snipe or something.
Here's the voting on the Spanish chat, guys. So big shocker on this is the Spanish broadcast, Revel and Bale, and you can see 55% voting for Ruben. So no big shock here. And it's they have commands for that. I have to figure out how to do that. No big shock that they are voting for Ruben over on the in the Spanish broadcast. A little different here in English, it seems.
Yeah.
David Loya saying, I think Mo has a trick deck up his sleeve, possibly. Man, I need to figure out. I don't know where the channel points are in the popped out version of chat. I'll have to look at that later. I have to figure out another time. 100-0 for Mo, says Adam on Twitch. And if it does go for Game 3, Ruben has to pull out Lumberloon Freeze for the memes. People have been pulling out against Mohamed. They've been doing it. They've been making the move to varied success, obviously, since you see that Mo is here in the winner's bracket final. Here we go. Game number 1. Ruben versus Mo. Let's do this. Feeling minor wall breaker Z from Mohamed Light. Ruben picks up with the Golden Knight.
Yeah, Mo going with what he loves most, game 1, a minor cycle deck.
And going to straight up Mortar Minor, Fireball there for the Skeleton Dragons. It's amazing how many top-tier pros start out as Mortar players.
Yeah, I mean, 2 especially that come to mind. You know, you gotta think Igor and Lapocati as kind of the, you know, the OG ones.
Igor Lapocati for sure. Benzer Riddell, another player who started off as a Mortar player.
Yeah. He was scary good, I remember, in I think 2019, 2018.
He was really on top of it over in the East, and I think it was Chaos Theory was the team he was with, and
maybe Kicks at one point, I think.
I think he might have been with Kicks for a minute. Initially with I think Chaos Theory was an Indonesian team, because they were at the World Cyber Games. Golden Knight picks up here. First 2 minutes away, 24-96. The number. Mohamed Light has the lead. You can see his match win rate 11-1, game win rate 91%. It's kind of insane to anyone's putting up those kind of numbers in any variation of Clash Royale, especially against other pros.
Yeah, and that's why he's at the top, said to be the best at the moment.
So we're pretty deep into this one now here, boss. Thoughts on the matchup between Ruben and Mo in this first game 1?
Well, very good open and start for Mohamed Light. I think that's typically what you'd expect for something like Mortar, and you see Ruben running something a little heavier now, so it's likely we'll see him potentially make a comeback in double. The thing is, though, is the Skeleton Dragons, I feel like, are not going to get the value they're looking for in this matchup, because Mo has Fireball, and I just feel like they're pretty weak to things too, like the Archer Queen and stuff like that.
Some damage coming in now for Ruben, his most significant attack, and now Golem down ahead of the cannon cart, and you love slowing that cannon cart down like that for a nice little push to build on the right-hand side. Cage for the Queen on the left-hand lane, minute 45 left.
Yeah, and the other struggle for Ruben is he doesn't have a lightning, so that Queen is just going to be getting a lot of value every time, because he has poison, but he doesn't have log with it, so he's unable to kill it when Mo plays it on his side of the map on defense.
Great defensive posturing here by Mohamed Light in the middle of the board. And now Archer Queen going to go into the strong side here. Or into the weak side.
Yeah, feels like Ruben just has maybe one more chance to build up a push at this point.
Knight to pressure left-hand lane plus minor cannon cart. Gonna try to hold here.
Yeah, and this minor just, wow, getting so much damage.
And Ruben decided to play all the way from the back. He knows that a little bit of minor chip and not going to be, even a full minor push is not going to be the deciding factor here, or at least unlikely to be, as he needs to do a whole lot of damage and most likely take a tower in these final 30 seconds. Minor going to be in, not tanking for the guard, so that is significant on the left-hand lane. 1490 is what's left, 21 seconds left. Ruben trying to stack at the bridge on the right-hand side. Cannot get enough. He needs to get a poison down here. Cannon cart still on its wheels. Ewa's trying to help. Guards in the midst. Poison going to come down, not going to be enough. Nothing breaking through here. Fireball shuts it down. Mohamed Light plays a clean game 1, and there we go. One step closer to being in our grand final.
Yeah, that was some incredible defense from Mo. It felt like there wasn't one time where he was getting overwhelmed. He just, kept calm, didn't make really any misplays on defense. And what I really liked out of him too, which you saw a couple times, was the queen at the bridge in the opposite lane, pressuring Ruben so he couldn't build up a massive golem push that he would have been unable to defend.
Let's take a look. Let me get this replay up here so we can take a look at some of Mo's defense, because that really was the story, was just brilliant defense, and as you mentioned there, boss, good pressure to not allow the same level of the same level of stack you might want in that golem push. So here we go, taking a look. This is just some of Mo's great defense. This is the first big golem push, and you see the guards up high doing double duty here against the cannons. Cycled back to a second mortar is Mo, and even with this cannon cart coming in, trying to make a little bit of room for the Golden Knight to go somewhere. Again, Knight down to the middle, and this is just calm, good cycle defense out of Mohamed Light. And yeah, the guards at the top. This is just beautiful, beautiful defensive gameplay.
Yeah, and you got to wonder if maybe if Ruben went for lightning instead of that poison, he would have had a better chance. And typically in this competitive meta, we've been seeing, Golem usually paired with lightning. So maybe Ruben went with poison because he might have thought Graveyard was a threat or something along those lines.
Very possible. And whatchamacallit, DJ Bayham pointed out, Surgical Goblin is the GOAT, Mo is the boat. And we talked about this yesterday. GOAT, great, but Surgical Goblin is the greatest of all time, right? You talk about the legend, the stories, the moments. But I'll say this, I do think that Mohamed Light is the best of all time. He might not be the greatest, doesn't have that cachet that Surgical Goblin has, but I think that what we've seen, the gameplay we've seen from Mo, end of 2020 through now, is the best gameplay we've ever seen. I don't think there's a strong argument. I don't think there's a valid argument against that.
Yeah, I don't know if you agree with me here, but I feel like every single great player, you see them make mistakes occasionally. Just like obviously like the best of the best. Like I just feel like Mo, I don't know what it is. There's very rare times I can say like, wow, he did something wrong. I mean, maybe if he's really tilted, I think it would more so be ladder, but competitive, I don't know what it is about him. He's just always locked in, playing his best, and he just knows exactly what to do. Like, his understanding of the game is incredible.
Yeah, and also, talking about ladder, he just got first on ladder, so you add that, that into the mix.
So the problems he might have had before, he obviously doesn't have anymore.
And someone says, don't forget Moogie here, but who did Mohamed Light beat to get that #1 on ladder? There you go, little revenge there for Mohamed Light in that moment. So slow start here in game number 2. Poison and Fireball, the 2 spells used in game number 1. I have a feeling one of these two is going to be using Lightning in game 2. And as is often the case, the paint is covering it up a little bit, but you can see little smiles and smirks and giggles from Mohamed Light with whoever he's talking to on chat.
Yeah, and very, very interesting to see both players wait, especially with Ruben going Golem in, the last game. You'd think he would run something a little faster cycle, but maybe that's not the case. Maybe he's going with some type of control deck of some sort.
Pruv saying, Ruben using Lava? Who knows? Probably not. Ooh. Now that you see the 6-man. My guess is this is Loon. He could be playing Pigs here, but my guess is that Ruben's going Balloon. We've seen, and now with the Heal Spirit, I guess it still could go either way.
Royal Hogs, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It could be Pigs. See? Those are the 2 options, but it does feel like, from Ruben's deck pool, you feel like Balloon, but Royal Hogs is certainly the other possibility.
Yeah, and with the Snowball, I'm leaning towards it being blue now, too. I bet you remember back in Team Queso, JP also loved using this Recruits Balloon deck, and Ruben, too, definitely a fan of it.
And with a Lumberjack in, that kind of seals the deal. It would be a very weird Pigs deck if that were the case, and he does go Loon here with Fishboy and... Oh, well, not anymore. I was going to say with a little bit more behind, but Lightning takes care of business.
Yeah, I like it. You know, something you don't typically see in the meta, and I think you need to switch it up a little bit against Mo. So I like the deck pick.
Well, it's one of those things where you are switching it up, but also how ready is Mo for Balloon, right? Lightning's not the perfect answer, but certainly with Archer Queen, you like having that in with Loon. And then, of course, the little stun from the Electro Spirit, Mega Minion, going to be waiting for it like crazy. No building to pull, and this exchange right here is going to tell us a lot about Mo's game plan.
Yeah, that balloon. Oh!
Yep, does connect. And AQ goes invisible. This is going to be a nice exchange overall for Ruben. Zappy's down low for a bit of a stun lock here, but Royal Giant does get away courtesy of a Fisherman. And now, just like that, Royal Giant going to do a lot of damage here, a ton of damage here. Pig in, one more shot from the Royal Giant. Oh my word, Mohamed Light just ran all over that tower. +2 from the Fish Boy. GG, well played. Mohamed Light found the opening for the Royal Giant, and that big boy just dropped a pile of cannonballs all over that left-hand tower.
Yeah, and Molite just made it look easy. Both games, you know, really weren't even close. I mean, he just, especially that second one, just one push is really all it took.
Yeah, that was kind of nutty. Hold on, let me go ahead and get that lightning reset coming in clutch. I saw someone say. Give me 1 second here to clip this replay. Let me go ahead and get that thing ready. And yeah, who was it who said that with the lightning reset coming in clutch for Querity? Yeah, that one was absolutely huge. And I think they're going to give us a. Oh no, they're going to give us the bracket here. Let me show you guys the bracket as I set up this replay for y'all. And of course, you're going to see Mohamed Light guaranteed a minimum of 7,500 euros. That's about $9,000 or so. And of course, needs to be beat twice to be prevented from being our champion. So Reuben has a great shot to get back and make a run at it. Of course, we do have Pandora versus Wallace coming up next, and the winner of that will face off against Reuben. So one of those three players, Pandora, Wallace, or Reuben, will be all that stands between Mohamed Light and the first championship of 2022. Let's go ahead and take a look at the replay of those final moments, and you see a little low on elixir here, and that's, I think, the big story is that when this Royal Giant comes across, look at what's on the board right now. Royal Giant, Mega Minion still there, Mother Witch still behind the RG plus a pig, and Reuben only has one more elixir in the hole with only 4 elixir on the board. So this is a really, really tough spot for Reuben overall as we press play and keep on going. And this Fisherman comes in and just says, hey, you're not getting any real damage on that Royal Giant, And here you go. The Zappy's trying to work. Second Fisherman just gets evaporated by that lightning, and that lightning resets the tower onto the Royal Hog. That's absolutely massive, and there you go. Fisherman slides on through, not going to get caught. GG, well played. But that lightning, there you go, one more time. Lightning resets onto that last little Royal Hog for damage, enough for the RG to get that last chunk of damage in. Kaboom. Mohamed Light with a big-time win.
Yeah, he did a great job there using that Mother Witch with that RG push. He noticed it was still live and ended up getting, you know, a lot of value with it on the counter push. Here
we go. Elimination matchup. Winner moves on and doubles their money from $2,000 to $4,000. Wallace and Pandora. Brazil versus Japan. Long history between these two countries, obviously. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu came over to, was developed from Japanese Jiu-Jitsu. Gracie family. Man, what is the name of the guy who taught the Gracie family Japanese-style Jiu-Jitsu? I cannot remember his name now.
Wow, Elixir Golem?
Interesting call here from Pandora.
I remember you used to call it the Stinky Cheese, right?
The Stinky Cheese deck still do. Brian's song, we're talking about Jiu-Jitsu. I was just talking about the long-standing relationship between Japan and Brazil. A lot of Japanese influence in Brazil. A lot of Japanese citizens live in, or Japanese descendants live in Brazil. Is Elixir Golem with Tombstone? Is that the new version of Elixir Golem?
You know what? I've never seen it before, I don't think, especially in competitive. Usually we see it with Bar Putt, but this is a interesting variation from Pandora here. I almost wonder, is there a chance it's something like Golem?
Yeah, me too. That's what I'm wondering.
But with the Heal Spirit and the Healer, I mean, I have to still think it's Elixir Golem, but I guess we're in for a surprise.
Yeah, Heal Spirit, Healer with regular Golem would be, both of them would be weird. But, you know, it almost feels like also we would have seen an Elixir Golem by this point.
Yeah, it feels like Pandora definitely going for the surprise factor here, you know, something Wallace isn't gonna certainly expect at all. See if it works out.
Interesting Royal Giant variation. You see the Hunter Fisherman combo, and yep, there it is. There's the big pink pile of goo, and a variation on Stinky Cheese.
Yeah, see how this works out. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this deck is actually decent with Tombstone, because you have a little bit of a you know, faster cycle, and Tombstone obviously being in contention of the best building in the game right now.
Second Elixir Golem down. Some does escape onto the tower. Baby Dragon plus Blob on that right-hand tower. And that's a decent chunk of damage. 2,100 remaining. But sets up Wallace with a ton of Elixir for the counter push.
And I like how Pandora was spacing out the Electro Dragon, the Tombstone there, so Wallace couldn't lightning both at the same time.
Important to think about that spacing against big spells, lightning in particular. As you saw right there, good call from Boss. Follow Boss at BossCR on Twitter.
Oh.
Yeah, this
RG getting damage.
Doing a lot here, but choosing to push right into the damage now at this point. Pandora kind of forced to do that with the big pile he had on the board. Battle Healer staying alive a little bit longer, but does finally fall. And that's going to be a lot of damage here to put this thing back in contention. The question is, can Pandora stand up through at least one more push to create a significant counter? NATO's everything back. Fish Go Boom takes care of the Battle Healer, and this is looking worse and worse for Pandora in game number 1.
Oh, can he get back to a Tornado? That's the question. Yes, he can.
Wow, what a cycle here. Triple Elixir certainly changes the game at the end. Battle Healer down behind the Elixir Golem. Bats working on the Electro Dragon. They do take it off the board. Heal Spirit leaves one bat alive, and that bat could be impactful as they're working against those blobs. NATO pulls everything together, 21 seconds left. Log trying to log things back here, 393 to 1558. The stack trying to break on in here, but it seems more like it's just feeding Elixir. One more Elixir Golem down, 10 seconds left. There's no way that gets to tower in time. And great defense there. The cycle from Wallace finishes the tower. GG, well played. TCamp61 asking, is this live? You're darn right it is. Wallace up 1, trying to make it to our top 3.
Those hunters there from Wallace, I don't know if you saw that too, just I feel like those were the key card there, defending those Elixir Golems. Just got so much value, you know, splashing those blobs and ended up shutting down those pushes really nicely for Wallace. Yeah,
those hunters, I don't know what this replay is, but let's go ahead and see if that, maybe this might be the finish here. I'm not entirely sure. Give me 1 second. Let me load up a replay. The hunter and the fisherman, and that's you talk about that. The fisherman, interestingly, now is used more. It seems like it's used more as a card that controls where troops are on the board, and less as what it used used initially in 2019, which was a card to separate troops from a push and then eliminate them. Right, that P.E.K.K.A. Fisherman combination, the Hunter Fisherman combination, which we saw here. And we saw how valuable that was in this matchup, being able to use that to especially pull the Battle Healer through to go ahead and kind of destroy these pushes.
Yeah, that's true. Definitely a traditional way it was played. And you got to wonder, maybe the reason why it's used differently now, do you think maybe it was because when the Fisherman first came out, pros didn't, initially master, all the uses of it. And now you see, it used to, its full potential, I guess you could say.
That's certainly possible. That's definitely one way to think about it. I'm trying to think of, you still use Fisherman behind RG. I think maybe also there's some of it that the maybe it's this more swarmy, but it does seem like right now Fisherman, instead of being played behind pushes to separate, it's being played more in the middle to control. But that's interesting. Maybe it's because they've mastered more of Fisherman's capability. It's also, one thing about the meta is it's like a dragon that eats its own tail, right? Like once something catches on, it catches on, and people kind of forget about other things. You'll see, you're seeing the rise of Lightning right now, and I don't think that Lightning's rise is purely because of Archer Queen being in. I think Archer Queen stimulated that rise, and people went, oh, hey, remember Lightning? And now you see Lightning still being played a lot, even if you're not necessarily expecting Archer Queen.
True, and you do see it do very good against things like Goblin Cages too, which there's a lot of in especially the dual format. You see it almost every set, it feels like.
An interesting choice from Pandora. I think that's the first giant we've seen today. Does not touch tower. And is this the first Skeleton King we've seen this far in today's show?
I believe so, yeah.
So everyone going a little different here in game number 2.
Yeah, Pandora going it feels like, just so off meta. Elixir Golem game 1, and now a giant cycle deck. Something that I myself haven't seen used in dual format in a very long time, especially at the very end of a major tournament like this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wondering if he's doing triple spell here with poison. And a lot of damage in despite the Skeleton King popping that ability.
It's this deck. The one with, I guess he's using Queen instead of Magic Archer. This is actually a deck Samuel Basoto used to finish #1 on ladder, I think about 2 years ago at this point. Very old school deck.
And you don't get the extra damage from the Archer Queen that you get from the Magic Archer for the lineup, but with Minor, the spell damage, and Giant, and then the opportunity to get Archer Queen across with the Cloak ability, this certainly has some firepower.
Yeah, and it's certainly working out for Pandora right now as he takes the tower.
Giant in the pocket, Mini P.E.K.K.A behind, and the Giant almost sabotages a bit, but the Mini P.E.K.K.A does still get the tower. Archer Queen now gets cloaked. It's just damage upon damage for Pandora. This looks like a 3-crown here.
Wow.
That was a lot of things that happened.
Yeah, I don't quite know what to say, to be honest. Maybe Wallace was a little caught off guard by the deck, but I felt like that game ended a lot quicker than I thought it would have. That was crazy.
Grr Woof Woof saying dominance asserted. Is that boss, says someone. Yes, that's why it says co-caster boss CR right down here below. Ashwin saying boss used to adore Giant Miner. Would you say that's true, boss?
Yeah, I used to love to play it. I actually used a variation with the Electro Drag. It used to be my main deck. Prince, Electro Drag, Minor, Triple Spell. I guess you could say I was kind of a one-trick with Giant back in the day, but I think as the meta shifted, it kind of fell out of the meta a little bit, and ever since then, I've kind of stopped using it. But in competitive, it can be solid, especially with the the graveyard or some crazy variation that Pandora used and worked out for him.
Anish saying enjoyed this game so much because of Pandora's newness. Yeah, a lot of different stuff out there. Cameron Littlejohn saying, Sup, Rich, could you give some info on how someone can go pro and how do you have a maxed account? My account was like 80%, 85% maxed before level 14. Now I only have a couple of decks that are maxed, but I'm working on it. I did just max my Archer Queen, so I'm very excited about that, at least for the next couple of months until the Nerf Hammer comes on in. How does someone go pro? Well, I don't know what the 2022 season for CRL looks like precisely, but I do know that one thing they're carrying over is the idea of accessibility. So in 2021, you could play your way into CRL. It was completely open. It required a top 1,000 finish on ladder. Every month, if you finished top 1,000 on ladder, you got invited to the top 1,000 Swiss bracket, to a group stage, to another bracket. So CRL was fully open in 2021, plus a bunch of other grassroots or third-party events like this one. I know that the plan is for 2022 to continue to be very open and accessible. I don't know if it's playing in through ladder or how you play into CRL exactly yet. That information is hopefully going to be coming by the end of this month. Max, one of the CMs, one of the community managers, tweeted the other day that we should have info by the end of the month, so fingers crossed. But I do know that CRL is planning to be, again, very open access, and then events like this one, these third-party events, have open access. This one had the majority of players were invited pros. I believe there were maybe 16 or so slots available, maybe 12 available to open qualifier players. Those open qualifiers are often posted by myself, at Rich Slayton. Hold on, wrong button here. This guy, at Revel Amar on the left-hand side, he's the organizer of events like the Queso Cup, like the BrenChong Cup. If you follow him, he often posts information of when the open qualifiers are happening. And then, of course, at Esports Royale EN. Esports Royale, Clash Royale's esports Twitter account, which I don't have the Twitter account here, but I do have, this was the CRL 2021 website, which will also be the CRL 2022 website eventually, so all that information will be up there fairly soon. But long story boring, there are plenty of opportunities. Play a bunch. There you go. All right, you've spammed this question enough. I'm going to actually answer it. What's your opinion on unpredictable damage and move of broken cards like Golden Knight, even game Golden Knight, I just want to talk to devs and get a bit of understanding. I don't know if Golden Knight actually is unpredictable or if it's just so hard. Like, I don't know if Golden Knight actually is coded where technically it's unpredictable and it's just too hard to predict for a human being because there's just too many variables happening. I don't know. I think there's some changes. Some tweaks could be made, but I don't think the game is like super crazy and balanced. Archer Queen could use a little touch maybe. And Golden Knight maybe some clarity, but I don't know. I think personally, I think champions are a phenomenal addition that breathed a lot of new excitement into the game. Yeah, I agree there because, and I'm sure you probably agree with this too based off of what you just said. I feel like the game has been becoming the last couple months a lot popular again, in multiple different communities and languages, and I feel like it's no coincidence that Champions came out, around that time. Mega Knight to the right-hand side here. This is game number 3. Loser will finish in 4th place. Winner moves up and challenges for a shot at the Grand Championship. This is a €2,000 or about $2,200 game. This best of 1 for, let's call it $2,000 plus.
And I really like Wallace's deck selection here. I think it's pretty safe because you see Pandora, if you look at the previous decks, he's used Log and Bar Barrel, which are the best 2 spells against the Goblin Barrels. So Wallace, making kind of a nice call here, knowing that those 2 small spells are out of hand or out of play for Pandora.
Mega Knight goes right. Archer Queen immediately opportunistic at the bridge. She will go invisible. Golden Knight has to come down to play defense, and that's going to be a lot of damage on the left-hand side. So good job spreading his opponent thin right now, does Wallace, but has to contend with a Mega Knight, an Inferno Dragon, and a Golden Knight coming down the opposite direction.
Yeah, if Wallace defends this push, it looks like he's going to be in a great position going into the end of this game.
What a Tesla to catch that Inferno Dragon. Got back just perfectly, and that could have been disastrous instead. Wallace picks up, and now going into the final 24 seconds of our opening 3 minutes. Huge lead here for Wallace with the unorthodox deck pick, but as my co-caster pointed out, a great one given the circumstances.
Yeah, and now, even though Wallace had that great defense a second ago, seems like he's getting overwhelmed because Pandora had an elixir advantage, and now, maybe the, kind of the flow of the game is changing a little bit.
Mega Knight down. Golden Knight gets 1 shot. Barrel coming in, trying to force defense and not play on the Archer Queen, and a couple shots do get in. 10:04 the mark now, and that's a win for Wallace if he can keep the Archer Queen from giving lightning value. But, of course, also lightning value when you take a Tesla off and get that tower.
Yeah, things are really going to pick up, I feel like, in Triple Elixir. That's where Pandora is going to have the best chance to break through and maybe get a Ram Rider to connect, because he's going to have everything he needs to support it. The Mega Knight, the Lightning, and he'll have the Elixir for it.
9:46 left. No perfect responses for Pandora to those goblin barrels, so it does require some fancy footwork and a little extra expenditure so far, though. Trying to keep this one at least under control. And again, just the full, every time, goblin barrel snowball for Wallace.
And we still don't know Wallace's last card, but if it's a rocket, it's almost over at this point if he gets any more kind of chip damage.
And there is that chip damage, 423. Not seeing a rocket, of course having to contend with all this coming in. Inferno Dragon held. Tesla working on the right-hand side. Valk too far away from that Ram Rider. Rocket is in, and that's going to be a GG. Well played. Wallace moves on to our top 3 and $4,000.
Yeah, great defense by Wallace. And as I mentioned earlier in that match, I really love that deck pick because as you saw, Pandora that whole game was struggling to contend with the goblin barrels, chip damage every single time, and that's what happens when you don't have a bard barrel or a log available to use.
Excel saying Wallace should have rockets, so just a bit more chip from goblin barrels to do it. Yep, and it did. Who are the top 3? Well, we'll see that in a moment here, but it is Ruben, Mohamed Light, and Wallace. So that's a killer top 3 here. Ruben versus Wallace coming up next. Here's the bracket as it stands. The lower bracket championship, playing for second place and a chance to challenge for first place, will be Reuben and Wallace. Currently, right now, both guaranteed 4,000 euros. Winner will be guaranteed 7.5K and a shot at the top at the upper bracket. And, of course, on that upper bracket, we're going to be seeing Mohamed Light. And you see the run that Wallace has had to go on in this one. And you see beating Vitor and then losing to Ruben in the upper brackets, round 3. And then the challenge he had on the bottom side just shows the grit in Wallace in terms of his matchups. Mohamed Light, of course, you see his run here, 2-0ing Griko, 2-0ing Pandora, and then beating Mohamed Light as well. So right now, not beating Ruben as well, I mean. So Mohamed Light currently in top form. One of these two players, Ruben and Wallace, have to go head-to-head and then regroup and go beat Mohamed Light, and then have to beat Mohamed Light again because of that winner's bracket situation.
Oof, yeah, it's going to be rough. I mean, Mo Light looks like he's unstoppable at this point. I feel like if you're Ruben and Wallace, you'd be really happy just to win this and get second place because you know you at least have that. But I think both players know going against Mohamed Light and having to beat him twice is not an easy task at all.
Yeah, let me look up something here real quick. Getting some of my where is that? Wallace being pressed double lane, every push and still winning. Yeah, Wallace played it very nicely. Did that not get covered by Liquipedia? Oh, Liquipedia. Did you not grab our, actually maybe that would have it. Let's see. I'm scared Mo will lose. It's totally possible. What does the tournament winner win? The champion wins 15,000 euros. That's about $17,000. So, yeah, that's no joke there, folks.
Yeah, that's a good payday. Not bad.
Yeah, that's not too bad. Not too bad. Let's see. What I'm trying to find here, I'll find it somewhere. Where is? Because I'm trying to remember. Oh no, it was Ian that Wallace beat in the finals of Royale Masters. There you go. Right? It was Ian. Yeah. I wonder if Wallace and Mo played at Royale Masters. At Royale Masters, in the bracket playoffs, Wallace beat Legolas, then Wero, then Lucas, then Ian. So that was kind of a nice run, but those two did not face off in that situation. All right. There we go. Let's see. Let's take a look at the chat here for a couple minutes. I know that on the over on Twitch, they're doing a vote right now for the Reuben versus Wallace. Right now, very close in Twitch channel points, 6.5K to 4.6K in favor of Reuben. On the on YouTube, guys, let's start getting your votes in. Do you think it's going to be Reuben or Wallace? Right now, on the Spanish broadcast, it's a 70-30 vote for Reuben. So there you go. Who defeated Mugi in this tournament? Mugi did not play in this tournament. People keep asking about that. Mugi did not play in this tournament as far as I'm aware. So there you go. How do you feel about OG decks, which are still going to be relevant, like Giant Miner and Hog and Expo Cycle? I could, if I never saw 2.6 or 3.0 again, I would be totally happy with that. I'm so bored of seeing quote-unquote classic decks. Like 2.6, I mean, I don't know what my win rate is against 2.6 right now, but I feel like it's like 90% or 95%. Every once in a while I face a god, or I just like, you know, I make a mistake, but I don't know. I know people still like those decks, but I think it's, I'm happy to see the sun set on some of those classics.
Oh, here we go. Game started.
So probably minor wall breakers for Wallace here with the Archer, the Miner, and the Bomb Tower.
Yeah. Wallace loves running these types of minor decks. He's very good with them. And Ruben may be running some variation of Electro Giant or Golem.
Looking like Ram Rider here. I think he might be a bit behind. I'm at 2 minutes flat now, 159, 158.
Oh, yeah. I am a little behind.
I don't know if you're able to... I think you should be able to get ahead of me, and then we can bring you back, probably.
I could probably refresh, and then...
Yeah, let me know what your timer's at once you refresh.
What are you at right now?
I'm at 143, 142.
141,
140. Yeah, okay, good.
Yep, we're good.
Killer! Right. Ruben sets up the Golden Knight. For a long time, you know, the debate of the best hair in the game was between the Magic Archer and the E-Wiz. But Golden Knight certainly making an argument. And you see actually a three-way fight for best hair. Who comes out on top? It might be the Magic Archer in this one. And now it's decided Magic Archer does have the best hair. Congratulations! Magic Archer, the ponytail, somehow still relevant here in 2022. And predictions have swung on Twitch chat, 12.5K to 11K in favor of Wallace. Maybe it's after they saw the first round matchup. Who knows?
And yeah, it is going to be Mega Knight Ram Rider, usually paired with the Lightning. Good thing Wallace didn't end up going with the Archer Queen, because if he did, Ruben would be able to get a lot of value with the Lightning he most likely has, unless he's using Poison instead. And there you go.
There you go. Mega Knight, nice kite, and does the King Tower activation happen here?
Ooh.
Oh, by a half tile, he misses it. Still well controlled, and plenty of elixir here for Wallace. The kite to King Tower activation not quite pulling off. Of course, King Tower activation isn't central to defending this matchup, but you always like that little extra DPS. I don't know how much the King Tower activation results in less damage from a Ram Rider. Right, for the Hog Rider, the King Tower activation usually cuts the number of hits about in half. I don't know what that does with a Ram Rider.
Yeah, it's not gonna likely change too many things. Like, if a Ram Rider's gonna charge on the tower anyway, it's probably gonna happen even if the King's activated. But, you know, it is nice, I think, regardless, because it could help defending, you know, the Mega Knights or the Golden Knights too, for example.
Ram Rider in, Bomb Tower picks up. Nice snowball there doing double duty against the Valkyrie and the Spear Goblins. This NATO feels ill-fated, and it is. And it is. Huge chunk of damage for Ruben. Golden Knight gets kited back by the Wall Breakers, but Ruben now opens up a big lead, 14:05 as we go into triple.
Yeah, Wallace has got to make something happen fast, either with, you know, a minor fireball or lining up a Magic Archer, but at the same time, needs to be careful on defense.
1088, Ram Rider down to 1961. And there's a Ram Rider that doesn't hit. That happens once every 17,000 Ram Riders.
Yeah, it just, to me, seems like every time I see a deck have Tornado, it always struggles against the Ram Rider. It's just not as good of a tool as it is compared to a Hog Rider, for example, that just doesn't pull it back nearly as much, and it's still charged up after you NATO it.
Excellent control on the Magic Archer there by Ruben. You see the NATO trying to last-ditch attempt to get the lineup with the cannon cart. Doesn't do it. So Ruben fairly easily takes game number 1 here and now has match point and a chance at getting us back to a rematch of Mo versus Ruben.
Yeah, Ruben pressuring very well that game. I was very impressed with how he managed to get the Ram Rider, to the tower. He won that game mostly because of those Ram Riders, surprisingly. You would think the Golden Knight would be the key card in that matchup. Eventually, it's, chaining its way to the tower, but he managed to find some, breakthrough moments with that Ram Rider, which was really nice.
Let me go ahead and get a couple of little replays ready here for us as we're in the break between Game 1 and Game 2. Let me load up. Let's see our first one here. We're going to take a look at that really fun, almost King Tower activation. This one, it was really a pretty defense. Obviously didn't end up working out in the end, but here you go, taking a look at that near King Tower activation. And sometimes that Mega Knight will knock that troop just enough. That first leap doesn't connect. And we'll go back here 1 second, look at that one more time. That first leap doesn't connect with the tower, but you'll see sometimes the Mega Knight with that knocking back the troop. Sometimes that second shot will do it. Doesn't do it here. And didn't feel like that was totally impactful, but certainly you love to get a King Tower activation. Here you go. Nice Ram Rider connection despite the NATO. And there's a point where, hey, how much damage could the King Tower have been activated? Could a King Tower activation in this moment? Take a look at this, right? Is the Ram Rider before the NATO? Not quite, but right about there is that Ram Rider before it touches in King Tower range. And does that, let's go right about here. Does that King Tower shot hit and or kill that Ram Rider before the dash gets on tower?
So right there, I think it still would have dashed for sure on the tower, but it probably would have gotten one less hit if I had to say that Ram Rider that got a huge chunk of damage.
Yeah, let's see. I'm gonna bring it real close here, and let's see if I can get it as close to possible.
Seems like it still had a good amount of health. I think it would have.
Oh, I just missed the pause, but even then would have taken at least maybe one shot off here. And man, rough one. Yeah. Rough one for Ruben overall. For Wallace overall, but nicely played for Ruben. And GG. If he pulls it to the middle, he gets king, so it wouldn't have. Okay, good to know. Here we go. Let's jump into game number 2. Ruben with match point. So this one, Ruben win here. He gets $3,500 more dollars. Goes from 4K to 7.5K. That's euros, so actually even more dollars than that. And of course, that would set up a rematch with Mohamed Light.
Wow, Baby Dragon at the bridge. Very interesting. With the bats.
Maybe just trying to force a response here is Ruben.
And Wallace did have that snowball out of hand, so I think I understand the idea.
Yosef Arshad saying Mo already won with the trophy. Well, certainly in a spot here. Night Witch. Is Ruben going Golem in game number 2, but with bats?
I wonder, could it also be Lava Clone?
That'd be interesting, too. Feels more like Lava now.
I can understand the reasoning behind it, because you see Wallace used Fireball and Tornado game 1, so Clone would get a lot of value in this type of situation.
This would be the most interesting. That's one of the things about Ruben. You talk about deck selection, and one thing that Ruben's not afraid to do is go with decks. He obviously is high skill with amazing micro, but he's not afraid to play a deck that people would say isn't as micro dependent. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, he's definitely creative in his deck picks at times. He's not afraid at all to make some substitutions, or even to, even though he likes using, and likes using his comforts, he occasionally, does like to go with stuff like this to, surprise the opponent or take advantage of cards already used in the game before.
So definitely feeling like Clone now even more with the Lumberjack out. This is so interesting. There's so many decks that I just, like, if I match them on ladder or in a challenge, I'm like, come on, you're trash, I hate you. But then seeing a pro play them are so, like, I I never want to play Expo again. Although with my current deck, I usually have a pretty good matchup. I'm so bored about playing against Expo. Oh, wow, and that's a whole lot of problems. That's a whole lot of problems. And I think a little miscalculation here from Ruben, and that's looks like it's going to be a pretty big GG here. We're going to game number 3, folks. I was going to say, like, certain decks, like, I don't like playing against Expo, even if I win against it most of the time now. But I love seeing pros play Expo.
Yeah, I actually am the same way. I'm not a fan of Expo. It might be because I'm not good at it, but I don't mind, especially in competitive, seeing someone, especially someone who isn't an Expo main, have the confidence to bring it out against, some of the best in the world. It's definitely impressive when you see that. Sure,
yeah. We definitely saw Hasiel, I think it was, who pulled out some interesting Expo at World Finals. Ended up with a top 8 finish, I believe.
Yeah.
Let me take a look at this. Loading up a little replay for us from that one. I think this is going to be when Wallace takes the big lead here.
I do think, though, Hasiel, on ladder, his main deck usually is Expo. I think he actually, a couple months before that Worlds performance, I think he got a top 10, actually, which helped him seal the spot in the LCQ, picking up 40 ladder points.
Well, there you go. Here we go. Let's take a look at... Let's take a look at one of these moments. This is when Wallace takes the big lead here, and you can see Reuben has plenty of elixir. Let's look at let's set the stage here for a second. So right now, AQ on the board, Cannon Cart going down into phase 2, Zappies. At the moment, he's about to play the Lumberjack, and he plays it right here. So here we go. Elixir is even 6 for 6, but and right now 8 elixir on the board for Reuben. 9 elixir, and one of those is the Archer Queen on the board for Wallace. And let's see how this one shakes out here. All those, and there you go. That's the big problem, is the Skeleton Dragons, 4 of that elixir are just dead weight anyway. And then protects against the Lumberjack, and I believe doesn't even need, the Mortar. Wow, the Mortar takes out the Skarmy here, and that's just brutal. That Skarmy was so critical, and that Mortar just evaporates the Skarmy. Lumberjack goes down, and yeah, Mortar retargets on the tower. Cannon Cart gets on tower. Zappies get on tower. Everything gets on tower. Tower down. GG, well played. And yeah, that Skarmy just got kaboomed by that Mortar. Maybe he was expecting the Mortar to lock on tower instead or somewhere else, or just didn't have the read right, and that Skarmy did not do what Ruben had hoped.
Yeah, and Wallace also doing a very good job there. You noticed just piling everything up, knowing that Ruben didn't have any spell that could take all of those units out. The Knight, the Zappies, the Queen, just everything together, and Ruben just couldn't stop it.
Yeah. So here we go, folks. Game number 3. Who you got, Ruben or Wallace? Here in game 3. Archer Q and Golden Knight might need small nurse, someone said. He even used clone. Yeah, I mean, he used the clone at the end, just could not get a good clone run going. Let's see. Let me look at the chat here for a moment. Wallace played that well. Yes, he did. First match today, we didn't see even one player, all 8 cards. Oh, interesting. Good note. What card do I hate playing against the most? Probably Golem. It's just I don't have fun in Golem matchups. I always feel like when I play against Golem, either like I have the starting hand and I can play against Golem, or I don't have the starting hand and I can't. Right? Like everyone has a thing that trips them up for some reason. Golem just annoys the heck out of me. Even if I beat Golem 10 times in a row, I still hate Golem. There's something about it. I don't know why. Always have. Flame and Yon saying Elsiop is my daddy. Well, congratulations, I guess, that you finally connected. And here we go, game number 3. This is a big one, folks. The winner goes on to challenge Mohamed Light for the championship. And, of course, this is a best-of-1 for 3,500 euros for about 4,000-ish, almost $4,000. A single BO1. What's the most that's been on the line for you, boss, in a single game?
Oh. Good question. I think there's been a few times now, but I mean recently, I mean, if you remember the LCQ for one game for me that I had lost, but there was a lot on the line because I think it was $2,000, and then obviously after that, one away from guaranteeing 15,000 and Worlds. So that was a shame, but that's, I think, the best example I could think of. I can't recently anyway.
Are you able to put the money out of your mind when you're playing in those kind of moments, or is that something where you're like, oh my word?
You know, to tell you the truth, I think a lot of people don't. I think it's different for everyone, but I think a lot of people don't really think or care at all too much about the money in those situations. I think it's more so what's on the line, you know. At the end, though, like, and it settles in, like, oh yeah, you know, like Mugi, obviously, sure, really happy about winning $200,000.
Sure.
But I think in those moments, you're more so thinking about all the decks you're gonna use, and, you know, thinking of how you want to play. I don't think usually money crosses, at least for me, until the event's over. But
Wallace
might be different for some other people.
I say Wallace getting a nice connection early on there with the Tesla being played to the right-hand side and focused on the Mega Knight. Zappies did their best to slow down that Ram Rider, but at the moment, Wallace to the lead, and now 6-man comes out. Fireball not in the game. Mega Knight is. So you see some of the reasoning. Of course, the big question here is how annoying is this flying machine going to be for Wallace as time goes on?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because the Mega Knight, you know it as being a good counter to the Royal Hogs, but Wallace has no Fireball available for the flying machine, and if Mega Knight's out of hand, the Royal Hogs are going to be just a nuisance for him to deal with.
Ram Rider in.
And great defense there.
6-man split, 3-3.
I feel like Ruben just has everything he needs to stop a Ram Rider, because not only does he have a Tesla, the Zappies, Wallace just has no, I guess, reliable spell for taking them out that we've seen yet. Maybe he's got a poison.
Mega Knight not there for the Pigs. Picked up by the Dark Prince. Tesla behind. A lot on the board right now for Wallace here in sudden death overtime. Baby Dragon does connect on the right-hand side.
Ooh.
And that's a lot of damage from that Baby Dragon.
Yeah, I wonder if Wallace wins the game, could it be because of that Baby Dragon, putting him ahead in the lead?
Mega Knight goes left, 3-3 split. One more time. Lead currently for Wallace, but not by a lot. And Flying Machine taken care of by the Ewiz. Bar Barrel goes high. Lightning takes Tesla off the board. Ewiz does not survive. But that lightning damage starting to stack up on the right-hand side. 52 seconds left. 6-man split high. 4 to the right, 2 to the left. Into the Mega Knight. Zappy's there with the Flying Machine. Giving a little more cover here to the Ceiling Fan.
Yeah, and Reuben still has a card he hasn't used yet. Wonder what it is.
Pig's going to get in here, get a little bit of damage, not a ton. Fireball in, trying to make some room. There you go. So lead now going to Ruben with 25 seconds left, 1741 to 1775. Ram Rider getting in deep. Tesla does take care of business, though. Final 20 seconds. Lightning to go ahead and get its value, 1458. Mega Knight, of course, going to be here waiting for those Pigs, goes in high. Fireball goes in low, 1534. No small spell to touch here for Ruben. And does he go for a lightning block plus getting Pigs on board? He needs to get a Fireball down. Can't do it. Wallace takes the game here. GG, well played. Less than 100 HP. Wallace gets the win and moves on to our grand final against Mohamed Light.
Yeah, that was really close at the end. And you know what I realized? I don't know if we could go back and see this. Did you see how Ruben played Royal Hogs before he cycled the Fireball? I wonder if he went Fireball first, would he have been able to get around back to another Fireball before the game ended?
I wonder if there's a point there. I mean, you're not playing a cycle deck, right? But I wonder if there's a point there where you just stop playing Royal Hogs, or even split them in the middle and like be really funky with it, but where you stop playing Royal Hogs, shut down defense, and go, hey, maybe I can outcycle and get fireballs down.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket here. We're up to our grand final. Going to be a bit of a delay here, of course, of the grand final. Wallace needs some time to rebuild decks to go against Mohamed Light, but that's what's coming up next. Mohamed Light against Wallace. Keep it in mind, this is the championship, the final matchup for this event. Wallace needs to beat Mo twice because Mohamed Light is the winner's bracket champion. That's the benefit. That is the value of being the winner's bracket champion. So playing for 15,000 euros, about $17,000 overall for the championship. Mo only has to win one best of 3. Wallace has to double win to make it happen.
Yeah, I don't know if Wallace is going to be able to do it. He's been playing so well today, but man, I just you got to think it's a pretty low chance, but it's possible.
Why is Mo good at Clash Royale or something?
I've heard a few things, yeah.
Let me go ahead and load up a couple of replays here since we have some time before we get to our overall championship. And I know points are coming in heavy right now on Mo in the Twitch chat. Let's see if anyone does bet on Wallace and try to win big in the channel points. And, of course, we'll get some voting going on YouTube here in a moment as well. Let's go ahead. I'm going to load up a couple of things in here. Let's see. Oh, no, wait. Did I download that other one? That was not the correct one, I don't believe. Oh, no, that was it. And then let me go here and load this up. 1 second. So here we go, some highlights from that last game. Let's first take a look at what Boss called as some pretty great defense in this moment. Awake saying Boss was right. That 100 HP is what lost in the game. Interesting note there, Boss. It was the baby dragon.
Are they talking about the baby dragon at the beginning, I think? Yeah.
Yeah, that baby dragon. Oh, that just ended right there. That was a little short. Here we go. And this is the ending. So pigs in, fireball comes in after the pigs. I'm wondering if fireball was in the hole though. Was fireball in cycle? And look at, I mean, like you look at how heavy that deck is. I don't know how he can cycle to get down to get a fireball back in time. I think he had to go pigs, right? There's no way. Looking at that time period, even if he plays fireball first, even if he does have fireball plays it first here, with 12 seconds left, there's no way he can play that elixir and get back to fireball, right? Like barrel.
Maybe you're right. And the other thing to keep in mind is if he didn't go pigs, Wallace might have not played a Mega Knight, so he would have been able to cycle back to a lightning faster anyway. So even if Ruben got the fireball down again, Wallace would have gone for that lightning, so it wouldn't have mattered probably.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's a tough finish there, but either way, Wallace going through to the end. But yeah, that baby dragon, you know, that's so interesting thinking about how something so minuscule early on, then you end up having a 76 HP game, and there's the big difference. Let me go ahead and just I'm just gonna time that out for spam. You know, if I don't respond to the same, I already actually put your comment on the stream, dude. So, you know, I'm gonna time you out for spamming now that I already put your comment on the stream. Let's see. Let's take a look at the wow. Oh my word. Okay, the channel points betting right now on Twitch has 72,000 laid on Mohamed Light and only 8.8K on Wallace. So there you go. That's the current spread. Let's see what you guys say on YouTube. Are you gonna vote? Are you going for Mo or for Wallace here? Who wins in this one? Let's see. Let's take out the double right now. Let's only vote on the first BO3 because obviously Mo has a huge advantage to win 2 BO3s. We're talking about just this BO3, and that should be what the bet is on the channel point prediction as well. It's only for this BO3, and Madi clarifying that one. So for this BO3, you're picking Wallace, picking Mo. Let's take a look at our YouTube chat. Let's see. Oh, you know what? We're actually, I saw someone commenting on liking my background. Let's change the background a little bit here because we are getting into the championship. Boom. Here we are. Now we're on championship mode for our final, for our grand final. Let's see. Ma saying Mo on YouTube. Josh picking Wallace. Haroon picking Mo always. Kairos Clan picking Wallace. Jimmy Cassiano saying Momo for his pick. Mystic with a pick for Mo. Lip with a pick for Wallace here. A lot of people picking Wallace here in the YouTube chat for this first BO3. That was a legendary prediction from Boss CR, says Awake. Yes, it was. Boss definitely hit his stuff. And, yeah, if you guys haven't yet, let me go ahead and link that one more time. This is going to be, we're having at least one BO3, maybe two more, depending on if Wallace can win the first one. But we are reaching the last chunk of today's show, of today's stream. If you haven't yet, come on, chat. Come on, computer, work correctly. If you haven't yet, go ahead and follow Boss on Twitter. There's the link in both chats. From there, you can find his YouTube channel, his Twitch channel. Boss just hit 100K on YouTube. So if you haven't yet, go ahead, check him out. Great content. Regular streamer on Twitch as well. So go ahead and check him out. And again, Boss, has been great having you here. Much requested, especially from the Twitch audience.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks again for the shout out and for having me on again as a co-caster.
And as long as you're here, I know if you're chatting in YouTube, you've already done it, but if you haven't yet, guys, go ahead, hit subscribe on the YouTube channel. We are on the push to 50K. The goal is 100K this year, and let me check the numbers right now. We are at 49,215, so we are less than 800 subs away from 50K, which is a big milestone, and then off to the races, making that 100K happen this year. So if you haven't yet, join the fam. There's all Clash Royale esports content here on the channel. Of course, we get these regular streams for these big events. And if you put the notifications on, you'll never miss a moment, of course. Also, if there's events that don't get featured here on the channel, often I'll pull some of the best BO3s from those matchups and put the replays here with commentary for you guys to watch. On top of that, some in-depth breakdowns of different great Clash Royale matches and moments. Guests on the channel to help break down basic tips, very specific tips for mastering different decks that you might be trying to master. Have a great one with Jax, breaking down P.E.K.K.A. Bridge Spam. One coming up very soon with the best Hog Cycle player in the world, Ian, helping break down both variations of Hog EQ that are popular right now, and of course the free-to-play one being the main focus on that. And of course some shorts on the channel as well, helping break down certain techniques so you can master different techniques that might help you in certain matchups. So all those things right here on the channel. If you haven't yet, hit that sub, because this is the most fun place for Clash Royale esports. Boom, that's the whole pitch, guys. That's the whole thing. I hit it. Did it sound official enough? Did I hit all the beats? I think I did.
Sounded good to me.
Thank you, boss. I do appreciate it. Let's take a look. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I might actually check out that Hog video you make with Ian, because I'm trying to improve with Hog myself, and
ooh,
I like watching Ian's gameplay. So
there's the endorsement, and here we go. The kickoff, our grand final. $17,000 to the winner of this one. 7.5K euros, about $8,000 to the loser. Mohamed Light has been on a tear. Just came off of a global #1 finish on ladder. But Wallace has been so good in these competitions. Can he do it twice here against Mohamed Light? Starts right now with that first BO3.
Wow, Mega Knight already coming out from Mo really aggressively.
The leap does not get on tower, but the splash damage afterwards does. That's what we were talking about earlier. The knockback can create that splash damage, so good early hits here for Mohamed Light.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about before about Mohamed Light just having an incredible understanding of the game. I bet most players wouldn't have gone for that Mega Knight there, and maybe he saw something that I didn't see either myself. I don't know how, but he made it work. He got the Mega Knight to splash the tower and already off to a great start.
You look at those win rates on the left-hand side. In any other situation, Wallace's 10-4 and 71% win rate would be, people be talking about how that's God tier in Clash Royale and in a competitive tournament like this one. In any other situation other than one where Mohamed Light is playing with 13-1 in matches, 92% game win rate overall in this tournament. That is, I mean, it's a new definition of God tier.
Yeah, and I mean, the game just started, and Wallace already took half of Wallace's, or Mo already took half of Wallace's tower. Just incredible.
Cannon cart down for Wallace. Archer Queen does not go down to the barb barrel. I think that it will die in the poison here, though. And nope, stays alive with the minor tanking, forcing the zappies out. So that's a big moment here for Wallace. Does get shut down, though. 1564 to 2530.
Yeah, and, Mortar having a hard time locking on the tower. And right as I say that, finally locks on the tower.
You gotta manage that cage switch, right? That's one of those big things about playing against Mortar with Goblin Cage is the Mortar will retarget when the cage pops. It's not an immediate shift over. Fly Machine does get taken out, but that means that the Mortar has to come down as the delivery came out a little bit early there for the pigs.
Wow, and that Queen has just stayed alive for the longest time at 1 HP there, getting so much value against the Royal Hogs on defense.
Cannon cart down by the tower. Sorry, folks, I just noticed one of the most hilarious comments I've ever read in YouTube. I'll address it during the break, but oh my word. All right, Mortar down. Does get picked up by the Mega Knight. And Archer Queen's invisibility may be a bit misused there. I guess the damage had the value. Lead changes one more time back to Mo as we go into the final 80.
Wow. Wallace continues getting those mortar shots that I feel like Mo isn't expecting them to come in. They're just coming in last second right before the mortar dies.
He's not managing the switch over from the Goblin Cage. That's twice
now.
Wow.
Again.
Wow.
Another wow.
Absolute wow here. Miner goes to the back. Mega Knight goes high. The Archer Queen not going to pop the ability here. No reason to. Wallace in the lead here in sudden death overtime. Knight high, cannon cart low. Poison plate at the bridge. Smart poison here from Wallace. Win the bridge fight at the moment. Knows that right now he does have the advantage. Miner going to go in this time to the inside corner, the number 3 spot, if you will. The third of the most popular spots out of Miner placements on the tower. And the Miner cycle is heavy, and that Miner...
And that's it, I think.
Wow, does that Miner's not pull the Mega Knight back? Look at the patience here out of Wallace to play the poison for the bridge fight. Does cycle back to it. GG, well played. What a game out of Wallace. Wow, game number
Wallace.
1.
Very, very good with those, mortar type of decks, and he's showcasing that right there. He loves using those minor control decks with mortar, and this might be one of the first times I would ever say something like this. I feel like it seems to be like Wallace just played that game a lot better. He had a rough start, but then after that, Light had a really rough time controlling those mortars, and I felt like shots came in that could have potentially been prevented.
Yeah, those mortar shots getting in were huge, and that's one of those things where, again, it's so tricky, like making sure that you control. And it's the same thing when you're playing against Expo as well. Expo and mortar, you have to make sure you're controlling that transition point from the Goblin Cage to the Goblin Brawler. If you don't control that, that's going to be a big problem, and we saw that here. Grabbing a couple of replays here. Yeah, someone in chat. This is the funniest comment I think I've ever seen it. Will Clash Royale pay money to all the players that have more trophies than 6,000? This would be fair because ladder is sometimes painful, even though maybe a lot of money to give. No. 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 I'm just gonna. That's it. That's the whole argument. Is no. No. In fact, even like that would make I would get money from that, and I'm still saying no.
And how much money are we talking? Like $1 or like
I don't
100?
know. I don't know if he understands how businesses work. Like, do you know which direction the flow of money in a business typically goes? I don't know why. Clash Royale kids, if you're watching, I can't remember who runs that Twitch that account on Twitter, but if you're watching Clash Royale kids, there we go. That's your moment right there. Let me go ahead.
If anything, it would be maybe top 100. Get a little something, but you know, 6K.
Yeah, if you make 6K, man, I would have been stacking money for a while now. Do you think Theo's Expo in this game? Says Michelangelo. Nope, I do not. I think that's very highly unlikely that we see an Expo in here. Is it possible? Yeah. Could I eat my words? Totally. Maybe I'm the most wrong person ever, but probably not going to see Expo.
I think there's almost no chance of that either. Just because we didn't see Earthquake game 1 out of either person. I believe Expo, typically the only time you see it is if Earthquake was used in the earlier games and you might have an opening, but even then, it's very risky, I feel like, if you haven't mastered it.
I was going to do some replay stuff there. It took me too long, so here we are in game number 2. Wallace with the advantage. Be nice for Wallace if he wins this one, then that Super Grand Final becomes craziness.
Yeah, at that point, it would be probably 50-50 because the momentum's going Wallace's way, you know.
Eric Tran saying Mo gave Wallace one free bracket for YouTube content. I feel that. Fafi X saying Supercell should give money to everyone in the world because yes. Okay.
And actually, something interesting to think about. I think you were casting, Masters, or you know what happened. So, I believe it was Wallace winning Masters right against Mo in the finals.
It was against
that what happened?
It was against Ian in the finals, but I was looking that one up earlier. I don't know if it was an earlier stage where he beat Mo, but it was the grand final was against Ian.
Ah, yeah. I forgot. Then it was Ian. I thought it was Mo.
He beat Lucas in the winners bracket, and like I think it was maybe the winners bracket final or something like that. The run that he went on in that tournament was really crazy.
Yeah.
But I think he might have beat Mo in an earlier stage of the tournament, but there we go. Golden Knight will get onto tower here.
Whoa, that was weird. It just, Mo's kind of stopped for a second, his Golden Knight there. I don't know if that's a glitch or because there is some weird interaction with the Bandit and the Golden Knight.
And Mo a little surprised here by how all that went down. Cordy saying he beat Mo and Lucas back to back. I think that was earlier in the tournament though. That wasn't in the grand final day. Yeah, he beat Mo, then Lucas, and then Lucas eliminated Mo later is what I'm getting from Alpha Moriarty. Thank you, Alpha Moriarty. Top tier Clash Royale historian.
So this should be, I would say, a great matchup for Mo if he's using P.E.K.K.A. and he's against E-Giant. And I would assume P.E.K.K.A's his last card unless he has... Oh, no, Mega Knight was used last game. Has to be P.E.K.K.A.
Marty with the point on the Twitch chat. If you blindly assume Mo was in the finals of a CR competition, there's a 90% chance you were right. And that's fair. That is fair.
Yeah.
Baby Dragon doesn't go to tower there. Does finally. And now E-Giant right into a P.E.K.K.A. Golden Knight on the right-hand side. Mo has the luxury to deal with it. Does have to spend it, though.
Yeah, and like as I said, this should be very easy for Mo Light, this matchup. When you have P.E.K.K.A. for the E-Giant, Ewiz for the Inferno Drag, Snowball as another set for it, there really shouldn't be too much trouble defending these Electro Giant pushes.
It's a nice NATO to pull the Ewiz to the opposite side, but you still have Snowball plus Lightning, another Inferno Dragon way behind Snowball to reset. Inferno Dragon, though, is going to get on that Ram Rider and keep it stuck. Can Wallace get around to another E-Giant in front of this Inferno Dragon, get some value? Not going to happen, and yeah, Wallace is frustrated there. He did just about everything he could in that situation, not able to break through to the second level.
Yeah. I guess, you know, he needs to try to do something crazy. I mean, maybe some opposite lane push, but Mo Light is just going to continue playing patiently, and he's not going to play a P.E.K.K.A. until he sees the E-Giant. So, unfortunately for Wallace, I don't see something happening here.
Interesting pull there on the Royal Ghost to the opposite lane. And now Golden Knight trying to get in. That Snowball might actually work against Mohamed Light here. Unfortunately for Wallace, the Golden Knight does not take out that E-Wiz, and that's going to be it. Nice shutdown there. Wallace, again, literally pulling out every trick he can think of to try to make this thing work. And just a rough matchup, and Mo has it locked down. He tried to pull the Ram Rider, says DC the Boss as well, yeah. See if he could get that Ram Rider to the opposite lane, couldn't get it done.
Yeah, just pretty much nothing Wallace could do. It's just one of those games where you have to try to just get it out of your head quickly and not worry about it in the next one.
GG, well played. Mo shutting things down. Wallace tried everything, but sometimes you're stuck in a room with 4 walls and you thought there was a door. Here we go. Game number 3, and this is going to be fascinating because if Mo wins, he is the BrenChong Cup Winter Edition champion, takes home 15,000 euros and that title. If Wallace wins, we reset the bracket and go to a final grand BO3. Whew, man, best of 1 for a whole lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, even if you're someone as good as Mo Light and you're confident you could win if it goes in a second, best of 3, you want to close it out right now if you're him. He's really hoping to pick up this win and just, get it over with. So we'll see if he ends up making a good deck pick for the final game. He did in that second one, that's for sure. Mirender asking how to get selected for this tournament. Well, for this specific event, there were a number of big-name pros who were invited to the tournament, but there were also multiple open qualifiers held, streamed on different content creators' channels. If you follow me, I often retweet those qualifiers. Revel Amar, you see here on the screen on the left-hand side, at Revel Amar. He's the tournament organizer. He often, he'll usually retweet out all of the information on the qualifiers when they happen. And then, of course, at Esports Royale EN usually gives you good information as well. But yeah, lots of opportunity. There are open qualifier opportunities for events like this, and of course, 2022 has a lot more stuff coming your way. And man, it's going to be really, really fun. I don't know all the details yet. I know some of the grand vision of what the plans are to grow opportunities for you to compete in Clash Royale esports this year. Of course, there'll be more announcements coming fairly soon, but it's going to be pretty fun. Let's see. Wallace would win right now if he go for Golem. Interesting. Huh.
Trust me, says Eric.
I mean, Mo did just run P.E.K.K.A, which of course does do really good against Golem. So I mean, maybe.
But what kind of Golem deck would Wallace possibly have available to him at this point, right?
I don't know. And for someone like Wallace, I'm not saying he wouldn't run Golem, but it's not something I would think of him to run, especially when everything's on the line. It's not a deck pick I could possibly see him going with, but you never know.
Zoab over on Twitch saying goes Graveyard, he thinks. So that's a possibility as well.
Yeah. Wallace definitely does like playing Graveyard. It's very common to see him use it in the duel sets.
I was looking at Twitch. I thought someone was popped up in Twitch there, but maybe not. Who's my favorite pro? Boss, obviously. He's here today. There you go. Michelangelo with the wrongest statement ever. I guess he has the moon on there. Rich, hottest CR caster. It's Andrew. Andrew's the best looking CR caster. There's no real argument about that one. Right? He's a Hollywood actor. But I do appreciate, even with the moon face, I do appreciate.
Yeah, he's been in some movies, right?
Movies and television. Yeah, Andrew's a great actor, and he's been traveling the world, appearing in. I don't know when the movies come out, but he just finished one that I'm pretty excited about.
I'll have to check it out.
Andrew do be handsome on here. Yeah. Hey Rich, have you ever been in a tournament like this in Clash Royale? No, I'm not good enough. I'm a talker, not a player. I do play Clash Royale regularly, but not at this level at all. Let's see. Someone saying no, Clash with Ash is the hottest. Best tattoos for Clash with Ash, but here we go. Game number 3. Wallace needs to double win. Needs to win this one, and then we'll reset the bracket for a final best of 3. Otherwise, if Mohamed Light wins right here, he wins the championship and that 15,000 euros. This could be it, folks. Let's see. Indeed.
Both players just cycling. Maybe Light going with some type of mortar deck. I don't believe he's used mortar yet in this set, but...
And Wallace just going to eat the EQ cycle here.
Yeah.
Interesting. Abdullah Amar saying, I think Mo will go balloon source. Just trust me, bro. It's not feeling very balloonish. And there goes the Royal General.
RG. Interesting.
And this goes right into the Tesla, too.
Yeah, I'm actually a little surprised he didn't opt to go for RG in the back when that Tesla was cycled and build up a push.
Yeah, very, very strange here. up 1 elixir, maybe 1.5. Yeah, one and change here is Mo, but he chooses to leak and just reset. Lewis Kent here saying the snipe with some crying face emojis. I don't know, Tesla Fisherman against RG.
Yeah, Earthquake is going to get some good value against the Tesla, that's for sure. But Fisherman going to be really good against the RG, and with the combination of the Tesla too, could pull off some good defenses.
And going to eat some damage here, and let's see if this is when Wallace pulls the trigger on some real push, and it is Loon from Wallace. So
wow.
Who here was talking to his analyst? Or I think they were saying Mo was going balloon, so never mind.
And Mo's got a lot of answers for that balloon. You see the Tesla, the Queen, and the Mega Minion. So
yeah,
Wallace
huge.
Probably going to have a tough time breaking through with that balloon.
And it's not a very fast cycle balloon deck either. It's not like he can outcycle the elements.
Yeah. If he has Lightning, he might be able to as his final card, but for some reason I feel like he would have used it by now if he has it. Yeah.
Mega Knight gets in deep. Hunter should get one more shot. No, nice log there from Mo. RG down. And a good Tesla far. And that controls the damage here. All it takes is one big moment with Loon, and of course we recently saw that with Mohamed Light. Even the great Mo is susceptible to a balloon moment.
But looks like as of now the balloon's not going to give him any trouble. He's controlling his defense really nicely here.
Fadi saying weird choice for Wallace going Loon with Mega Minion and Archer Queen still both available. Archer Queen, like, on paper sounds like she's great against Balloon, but she's not as clean a defense as you think. Tesla, though, certainly helps out a lot in that matchup.
Yeah, that's a good point there, because if someone's using Lumber Loon Freeze, they can just freeze the Queen, and then the Queen does nothing if it's next to the tower.
882 on the right-hand side. Final 51 seconds remaining. EQ cycle coming in now. Fisherman on the right-hand side. Log putting that extra chip damage in. Mo very close to being our winter champion for the BrenChong Cup, and just straight up spell cycling right now. Interesting move here, because Queen now not in a good spot. Mega Minion is there. Tesla does pick up. Can he go back to another Loon here? Wallace trying to cycle really hard. Arrows down. Mo's going to be very close to that last Earthquake. That's got to be it. There's no way the Loon can get anywhere near that in time. GG, well played. That's how you kick off 2021 if you are the best player in the world. Mohamed Light, your BrenChong Cup Winter Edition champion.
Let's go. No surprise there. I mean, just very well-deserved and just great gameplay coming out from him.
Just brilliant play from my Mohamed Light. Starting off 2022 the way he wants. Saying, hey, you know what? Maybe I didn't win the grand final at CRO Worlds. Maybe I lost a BO3, but guess what? I am still on top of the world and ready to dominate. And here we go. There's a full, are we doing an interview with Mo? What's happening here? Just a full picture of Mo's face. He can't hear me. My guess is they're doing an interview with a translator, because I have no idea what's happening right now. Or just showing Mo's face. Also, there you go. Here we go. Mohamed Light first place. Wallace in second. Reuben coming in at third. 15,000 euros to your grand champion. 7.5K to Wallace. Reuben walking away with 4,000. And yeah, that's a heck of a start here to 2021. Mohamed Light continues on top.
Yeah, and even though Mo Light's the winner, you know, let's not forget about Wallace. I mean, he had a great run. I think there's no shame losing to Mo Light, and how you talk about Wallace kind of being, you know, underrated. I guess this again kind of goes to show it. I mean, he won Masters in second place in the first major event of 2022.
Yeah, Wallace certainly on on that precipice here where 2022 could be a huge, huge year for him. Obviously, Mo looking to redo what he did in 2021, and you see the kind of way he performed and the money he earned. Obviously, on top of that, Mohamed Light now streaming regularly to 1,500 people on Twitch all the time. Not to mention growing his YouTube channel as well. So, smart choice by him. Could this be a bigger year for Mo than 2021?
I think it could be, especially with content included. Like, I mean, if he's still performing the way he is in competitive, just flawlessly with content too, I think without a doubt it would be a better year for him, for sure.
It's certainly possible, and it's been a great day, everyone. I really enjoyed being here with you guys. Thanks for joining here on the YouTube channel. If you haven't yet on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We're going to be back with more Clash Royale esports stuff very soon. And of course, if you're watching on Twitch, I would appreciate the follow. And stick around Twitch, because we're going to go ahead and find someone cool to host here in just a couple of minutes. But if you're watching on YouTube, appreciate you as always. Lots of opportunities in 2022 for you to compete in Clash Royale esports. More of that on my Twitter account, on Esports Royale EN on Twitter, as well as other places that you'll be finding and seeing more on that very, very soon around the corner. One more time, big thanks to you, Boss, for joining. Let me go ahead and throw Boss's Twitter into the chat one more time. For those of you who didn't get it already, there you go. There's Boss's Twitter over there on YouTube. Really appreciate having you on here, man. It's great to be able to sit down and finally chat and watch some great Clash Royale.
Yeah, I mean, I again appreciate, the invite. I had a great time, casting and, co-casting. And, also, before everyone leaves, make sure to sub to Rich also. Get him to 50K subscribers.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. All right, Twitch, stick around for a minute. We're going to go find someone to raid. YouTube, it's been fun, and I will see y'all soon. As always, be excellent to each other. All right, Twitch, give me 1 second here as I'm about to kill the YouTube feed. Let that coin spin a bit. And boom. There we